Hello and welcome everybody back once again to the GT4 Rookies and GT4 Open Championship. One of the most popular championships on our calendar is back at it and going to be looking strong this season. We have a jam-packed grid of 29 rookies that are going to be taking the field here tonight with an absolute calamity of a track in my, well, calamity is a hard word, I should say, but an interesting track to start it off with, the Hungaroring, a very tight, twisty, technical circuit, difficult to overtake on, so qualifying is going to be very, very important. But more on that in a little bit. I'm Mike Noss here tonight. Joined with me is none other than Carson Cass. Carson, welcome.
Thank you very much. Despite my blue hue, I'm very delighted to be here tonight with you, Mike. And yeah, like you mentioned, rookies. I used to participate in this championship before I realized ACC, not the game for me to compete in, and I took a step back, jumped into the Oval Series, but I am very, very excited to be jumping on to the Hungaroring here tonight. It's a pretty interesting track and a very, I guess, barren track in terms of racing overall. Not too many fun facts about Hungary, like you mentioned, but we'll be getting down to the details with you throughout this entire stream.
Yeah, it's not completely true. Obviously, it's a track that has a lot of Formula One history, not so much in the GT world necessarily, but we're going to make some here tonight with the championship of the rookies. Just wanted to start off by thanking everybody that is here tonight. I see we already have a couple subscriptions being dropped, one by Doc Millie over to Whelp Cakes. You love to see that. The father-son relationship always strong, and that is absolutely awesome. Happy Father's Day, late Father's Day to everyone out there. And Kali Official also dropping a 5-month sub. That's almost a year. Thank you so much. And also Whelp Cakes 2 months. That's almost a year. And we have Rally Dutchie joining us. We got Kali. We have Carson joining us. We got Rob, awesome, and more to come, I would imagine, also in there. George, welcome. And I hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We got a 2.7-mile circuit ahead of us here tonight, and a long qualifying at it, so why don't we hop on down towards that session.
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with our format here tonight, you'll see right after the black screen of anticipation, we're jumping right into it. It is odds first, as you can see, not a single even number in the top, I'd say top 15, 20, but it's split between that, so we can get both drivers on track without too many drivers on track at once, but the evens will go at the 10-minute mark, and all odd drivers can get their times in as long as you start the lap before the 10-minute mark.
Indeed, and we have one of the drivers out there currently on an absolute flyer. And Carson, why don't you enlighten us with some of the facts that we have here about our Australian previous, I think, champion, if I'm not mistaken. That's something I probably should have double-checked. But dominating last season regardless. And, oh my goodness, there's a bonnet lifted up behind. But that's neither here nor there. This is the 205 of Mr. Roo. Yeah,
Mr. Roo did, and this is not any form of exaggeration. This is down exactly to the numbers. 326 laps of practice for the Hungaroring, and that is within 1 week. The server has been up for a total of 7 days, so that is 326 laps, 26 of which were today. I do know that much, but if you're curious about how long that is, and I kid you not, if you were to drive from Miami, Florida to Nashville, you'd be just short 30 whole miles, 887 compared to about just 913. So absolutely electric practice from this guy. Does not get off the server, and we'll see if that pays off for him. So far, on top of the pole for him, 1/10 separating him and Melanson, another driver to watch out for tonight who's been on top of the timing tables as well.
Yeah, Matt Melanson, a driver that is, I think, new to the Rookie Championship, if I'm not mistaken, the Crazy Rabbits Racing. He's obviously been around the cards, but going to be taking on the full-on championship here and gaining some time. A 1:53.6 is the time to beat currently. Jeff Frank's also up in the times as well. Another driver that's been putting the practice in. Michael Wenzel behind in that Doc McLaren. And Reggie King in the pit lane right now in the Bic Porsche. It's a good variety of cars. That's one thing that we've been noticing in both GT3 and GT4 alike is the sheer just number of manufacturers out on the grid. We got McLarens, we got Porsches, we got AMGs, BMWs, and heck, even a couple Genettas.
Yeah, that's not what I expected to see tonight, but those Mad Fox Sim racing cars are always typically something you don't expect, and same case for here tonight, as it's kind of seeing some cars, though, get neglected. We saw a lot of the Honda NSX last night. We saw one Porsche 911 last night, so it's very, very different with what you're seeing in manufacturers-wise. You're seeing guys jump around. Jeff Frank's known for his lovely Porsche things driving, has finally switched over to a different German manufacturer, sitting third overall right now, but tons of different just drivers out there on track with different skill ratings, and as you go up, you'll see the manufacturers change their preference changes when they realize what they're good at and what they like doing.
Also, a thing to mention is a lot of new names on the grid as well. A name that I don't recognize, Anil Irel, Turkish driver here in the A1 Motorsports. We have Idriel Olivet, or Olivaria? Is it Olivet? No, it's Olivaria. That'll be a tough one. Of course, a few other names that'll be coming out. I think Yon? Is it going to be? Let's see. It's Americans. Joanne Perez here in the number 22. So we got some new names to butcher temporarily until we do get more familiar with them. Also, Matt Melanson was in the rookies 2 seasons ago. My apologies. And Veg also, I think, new to the out in chat as well. I think you're going to be joining us here tonight. I'm curious, what is your name in game there, Veg? I'll give you a little cheer on during the session.
Yeah, tons of different drivers, tons of different manufacturers for some of these drivers. You'll see them switch and jump over these seasons, but you're seeing so many names. Like, I'm like looking for Joe Khalil out here. Not out here tonight. He's graduated rookies. Scott Sullivan, another one who graduated 2 seasons ago. Mason Priochalski, who honestly came in better than a rookie, but graduated 2 seasons ago. We've got tons of different guys who you're going to recognize in later tonight's championship. I believe that starts at 8:15 Central Time. Which is probably the worst time for a lot of you. I don't think any of you are in Central Time either way, but still, come make sure you've got the GT4 rookies tonight, but we've also got, later on, the GT4 Open.
Yes, indeed. And we can see now the official checkered flag has fallen for the odd plate drivers. Now the even plates will be coming out on to track. And also, welcome to Moriko, our newest Patreon V12 member. Thank you very much, Moriko, for supporting us. That is absolutely awesome. Saw that the other day. I haven't updated the graphic yet, but I will be very, very shortly, I can assure you that. Also, Spady Bud joining us. Welcome. Good luck out there tonight. And you are, is it Mark Cam or Mark Cam? I'm curious on that one. But welcome nonetheless. We'll be in the Open a little bit later on. Rue Paper Scissors joining us, and currently sitting on pole position with a 153.2. And Rue, gotta say, the dedication in practice was definitely something else this time, and the pole position, you got it by a decent margin. It was over 2/10, or just about 2/10, I should say, is the gap at the moment. Now, of course, the track getting rubbered in a little bit more throughout this session will allow these drivers to potentially pick up some pace, so it is going to be anyone's game. Potentially Connor Cool's a name, again, that we're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, that's the best part about the Rookie Championship we mentioned. We always mention dipping your toe into the shark-infested waters of sim racing. That is the bar that we use for every single time we mention the rookies, but you see a lot of guys who are doing that and are trying to find their way into it, and you go into that chat in the Discord, there's tons of support. Everybody's very, very helpful with one another, and everybody's always trying to find a way to just get better and talk to one another, and it's a super cool community. And it is definitely breeds a lot of competition on track when you're helping one another, to be real.
Absolutely. Advice goes both ways. Of course, you want to see everyone succeed, but you also want to succeed. And there can only be one winner in these races, and everyone wants it. Now, we got Mace Windu in chat. Avoid Mason. He's not as helpful. All right, well, great advice, Mason. Also, Nikki joining us as well. Welcome, cheering on Mr. Rue and the Stinky Cheese Man himself, Jason Provolone. I think he'll be in the Open a little bit later on tonight, which we will be streaming as well, so do stay tuned for that.
Ooh, long night for us. Ooh, yeah.
A little deep there for Connor Cools through the chicane. I'm not sure if that was still valid. We'll be keeping an eye just on the rest of this lap with him.
420 car has done a pretty good job keeping it clean so far, but a little too deep on those penalties there. But it is the Merc. You can eat a lot of curb, and if you make that middle mistake, it's not going to affect you too much compared to the Porsche. It'll be like a 2/10 difference for the Mercedes, and then if you hit it with the Porsche, you won't have a car anymore, and you will just have a German pile of scrap on the side of the Hungaroring. But Cool's doing a great job here in that final little sector. He's got this long left-handed turn, running up the track to these final right-handed turns. Same difference, same length, about the same angle, but take it just a little bit differently on this exit. You want to try and punch it in as hard as you can a little bit earlier, because then you can get right on that left side, and he will cross the line finally for his first time. He'll go 12th overall, beating Freiberger by barely, I think only a few tenths.
Yeah, also just behind John Boy Thornton by a few thousandths of a second, just a couple milliseconds separating those two. So close margins already. Connor Cool's a little bit deep there into the first corner, definitely leaving some time on the table in this lap, but we'll be seeing what he can put down a little bit later on. We also have Carlos Padron, currently running in the Porsche, the number 718. and about to set his first lap here tonight. What's it going to be? It's going to be P13. Not bad. 3.2 seconds off of 156.555 is the time here for Carlos to begin with.
Yeah, I'll punch it right behind Casey, Cools. And we'll see the Canadian up here. I can't pronounce that last name. I'm going to think about it really hard in my head.
Osintsev.
As he crossed the line. Osintsev?
Osintsev. Or Osintsev.
Osintsev. Yeah, Osintsev.
Yeah.
I was looking at a different name. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was looking at Olivaria.
I think it is Olivaria. Yeah, Idriel Olivaria.
I'm gonna go with that. The American driver out there, 21 overall. They already have had their qualifying session. Luis Perez, another name that's returning for sure. The 414 cars is his third season or second season of rookies. Not quite sure, but I've seen him out there every single time I've been out there, and I've been out there for almost 3 seasons, or we're almost out there for 3 seasons.
I think this is a new driver. Luis Perez is a name that Omar Perez has been out on track for quite a few times. Yeah. Luis Perez.
I think they've both been out there, Mike, and I'm not sure. I may be totally wrong, but I'm...
Checking?
Checking? I'm not checking. Actually, I'm checking.
I was incorrect. He, in fact, was. My apologies, Luis.
Luis has been out there. I've had some on-track rivalries with him, and yes, today on Americans Try to Pronounce Names. That's kind of how every stream goes. We get it eventually, though. Eventually.
Yeah, I'm assuming Idriel is not an American necessarily. I mean, it might identify American, but it's probably American-Brazilian if I had to guess with a last name like that, but I could be wrong. But just a shot in the dark. We also have a few other names out there. A newer driver here, the Bulgarian of Hristo. Is it going to be Kanov? I think it is just Kanov, right? I don't think it's too... That one's not too complicated.
Might be Kanov, but...
Kanov. Okay, fair enough. Kanov. Hristo Kanov. Currently invalid and looking to put a valid one down. Needs 2 more attempts, though, before he is going to be reaching that checkered flag. And we'll see what he can get. We have also Noah Johnson coming through that final sector. Lots of very original corner names on this track. See, as we're coming now into the famous turn 13, followed up by that will, of course, be the turn 14, which is the final corner on this track. And yes, you guessed it. That is all of the names on this track is all numbered numerically because apparently I don't have too much fun in Hungary. I don't know.
Maybe they like to keep it simple or just, again, not too much history made here. It's a mid-season F1 track, so it's not like you have like genuine championship-defining moments here. It's not too often you have things like that here. Wall of Champions, it's called that for a reason. But I mean, there's plenty of F1 that I know. It's been through the mid-season. I think its whole time as an F1 track, but I definitely know it's got a ton of history in that series.
It's one of the oldest F1 tracks, in fact. It's been around since basically the birth of it. 1986 is when this track came out and hasn't even been changed since, which is for better and worse, in my opinion. But hey, again, to each their own. This is, I don't think this is anyone's necessarily favorite track. There are a few maniacs out there. It's a very technical track, though, and don't get me wrong, I do absolutely love driving it. It's just a tough one to overtake on, and qualifying is going to be very important, trying to set a very high up lap, and so far, we're not seeing too many even plates really making a difference in the time charts.
Yeah, and that just happens to be, I think, by chance, that most of those guys in the top of the practice field who put down the most laps were in the odd numbers, and I guess if you had the odd numbers, you just practice more this week, but it's just depending on different drivers. And 718, that's a number that the actual Porsche Cayman team uses, because I believe it is the Cayman 718, if I'm not wrong, but not fully sure, just another piece of there.
But of course, one famous piece of information on this track, though, that I think is infamous in terms of its renown nature in the Formula One community. This is the track, of course, that Felipe Massa got hit in the head on with the Bolt back in 2009 and ended up knocking him unconscious and sending him straight on into the barrier in that middle sector. So, it is a track that does have some history. And again, Formula One mostly is where it has most. It has plenty, again, of Formula One facts in terms of champions. I think Lewis Hamilton having the fastest lap here and so on and so forth. But we'll see. Oh, my goodness. Luis Perez certainly not going to be beating Hamilton's lap time this time around. It is invalid, and he is slipping and sliding left and right.
That'll be his last lap, I believe. Not sure if we'll get to the line in 22 seconds. Yeah, he's pulled it over, but He'll start ninth unless one of these two drivers has something to say about it, and one of them won't because he's already ahead of him. But we're on board with Carlos Palermo.
Padron?
I can't fully. Padron. Carlos Padron. Can't read it too well on my monitor. It is in 240p. But Carlos Padron moving up that other side. He's right behind that BMW. Blessing and a curse. Toe on the straight, slower in the corners. So we'll have to see if he can improve on that time and break into that top 5 section. But for now, that Porsche will be the second highest behind Reggie King. Or Derek. That's not Reggie King at all, is it? It is Reggie King. It is Reggie King. I didn't know Reggie.
Yeah, currently.
I didn't know he was in. Yeah, I didn't know he was in rookies. Huh.
I didn't either, honestly. But here is Carlos Padron. It's going to be no improvement for him. We also have Joan Perez going into pit lane there. Johan? Is it going to be Johan, probably? That sounds probably more right. And Kirill Osintsev will be gaining on his lap time. Coming out into that turn 14. In the heart of racing, Aston Martin, number 92. A little bit deep there in the final quarter to carry the momentum on. You can see that racing line rubbered in nice and firm as we go across the line here, and it is going to be an improvement for Kirill up to 8th. Not a terrible result there. 1.9 seconds off of 155.2 is his time, and a few more drivers here to cross the line. We have Noah Johnson up next and Jaeger Karu, both of them on a slight improvement. That was a little wiggle, though, on the front end of Johnson's Aston Martin, and I think that is going to be pretty much any lap time gone. Now, going to be coming around that final corner, and no time improvement. I think we will be seeing an improvement, though, from the Ginetta, I think the lone Ginetta on the field of Jaeger Karu, as he punches it around the final corner. 0.3 improvement here, up to P14. Not a terrible result.
No, not at all. The Ginetta is surprisingly quick on the straight line speed, so you know what? Pretty interesting there, but we've got a very large and colorful grid this time. I'm very excited. 29 drivers. Pretty sure that's one of the highest we've had here in the rookies for a long time, but with that many drivers, we got to get started real quickly before that lap starts. Hand it off to you.
Yeah. I mean, we honestly, we can stall slightly here, but we can go down to 220 is where we'll stall to. But as it stands, actually, well, this is one of the lower attendances, I would actually say. Of course, we had the famous 50-car grid back a couple seasons ago, had the 45-car grid at the start, so 30 cars, not the be-all, end-all. But hey, if you are looking to join this championship, it is available on SimGrid, a link there in chat. Now, as we have it, why don't we get on into it and meet our drivers, as we have starting off in pole position, the Australian driver who has driven from Nashville to Atlanta anyways. It's Mr.
Nashville
Rue.
to Miami.
Nashville to Miami, there we go. Nashville to Miami, it is Mr. Rue, alongside the likes of the number 33 car, Matt Melanson, the Crazy Rabbits AMG, lined up there for the number 33. Michael Wenzel coming home in third position, 619 for the McLaren, with Jeff Franks behind in the Love Wins Racing, the number 4 AMG this time around. Jeff abandoning the Porsche, moving over to the AMG and looking solid in his results. Reggie King also in P5 here for the number 111, with Carlos Padron behind in the 718 Porsche. Dr. Porkchop coming home in 7th position, with Kirill Osintsev in 8th, and Philip Lee belonging here in 9th. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be the 414 of Luis Perez.
He'll be chased by another Perez in 11th in the Zalcoto Motorsport machine. That's 25 of Omar Perez, followed by Connor Cools riding high in 12th, with Moriko Yatanashi in the 53 car in 13th, with Jaeger Karu, the Ginetta behind. Behind them is a double row of AMGs, John Boy Thornton, Andrew Feierberger, 15th and 16th respectively, with 17th being Michael Mack in the Invicta Racing AMR. John Perez will be in 18th, followed by Rally Dutchy in the Street Animals Camaro, with Spady Bud in the Spady to round out your top 20.
Noah Johnson coming home in 21st position, with Idriel Olivaria in P22 for the number 11 Machinery. We have George Jarvis behind in 23rd for the 278, one of the newer drivers as well from Britain. Also, Risto Kanov is what we're going to go with here. I think the H is maybe silent, but anyways, it's going to be in P24 for the number 16 driver, with Anil Irel behind in P25. Stefano Rinaldi, 26th quickest, with Harrison Waldis in 27th, John Watt in P28. And last but not least on the grid is going to be your Code Red, number 23 of Mike Fisher.
Very pretty car, and we've got Yeah, so speaking of liveries, Cali official, Josh's livery looks great on the Merc. Very iconic livery, and it's the first time it's not been used on a Porsche, I think, in a very long time. So good to see that. That car is starting in a podium position for the first time this season, because it is the first race this season. As Rue gets off to a very, very long start. He will be starting this race. I am very, very excited for this season, Mike. From rookies, it's very, very interesting because you get a lot of different skill levels, and Rue is one of those guys, and Melanson is also one of those guys that you're going to see so much pace out of, and there's going to be guys back there who are going to be learning how to be backmarkers, whether they like it or not.
It is, of course, the nature of rookies. Got to have faster people around you in order to learn and have an objective to shoot up to. We'll be seeing how Mr. Rue can contend if he can shoot for the stars here, as he has that Australian flag there in the bottom right from down under. He'll be trying to rise to the top. And, well, he has many times before. There's a little flash of the headlights as I think he's watching the stream. You'd love to see it. And Matt Melanson behind the number 33. Michael Wenzel in the McLaren, a car that we haven't seen too much of in recent times. We have no BOP, it looks like, for these cars, which is a little surprising to me, but I guess we don't. Oh, because we don't have LFM for GT4s. But
yep.
Anyways, thought we had the other one, but that's okay.
Yeah, and Wenzel's another guy who's been here for some time. Definitely made some massive improvements, and it's really nice to see these guys rise up through the ranks and graduate to the GT4 Open, which most of these guys, a lot of them participate in the GT4 Open. And Melanson's a guy who I think is also going to be to the top of that table as well as Rue, but I don't know if Rue is registered. But yeah, I mean, it's always great racing here in the rookies, followed by great racing in the Open, so always fun on Mondays.
Absolutely, as I've spilled some of my drink, but that is okay. It's not too bad.
I don't know if this was on track. It's just I spilled an entire bottle of water in my lap during the stream. That was pretty rough, and I announced it to the chat when it happened, and I just kept going with a very sopping wet shirt. That was very apparent the entire time.
Hey, that's dedication at the end of the day. Just want to say welcome to everybody. I see we got John Hawley in here, Rally Dutchy joining us, as well as F1 Charge. Nikki, I already said hello. Potts Weaver just said, no, I didn't know. Potts Weaver also joining us, and a few others. Welcome, everybody. This is the beginning round of the GT4 Rookie Series. Next week will be Spa-Francorchamps. This is race 1 of 2 tonight. No pit stops ahead of us. It's a 20-minute sprint all the way to the end before we head on towards that next session. No qualifying in the second race, and the results of the first will determine your starting position. Thank you very much to Darth Martins for the follow, as well as Juan. Thank you for the follow. Drivers here getting ready, lined up, 2x2 Noah's Ark formation. Mr. Rue up front here. No slouch in general, but also not necessarily unfamiliar with leading the pack. He is, well, a pack animal himself in kangaroos. Are kangaroos pack animals? That's a question for another time, regardless. As we go 2x2 Noah's Ark formation. I'm Mike Noss in the booth. Joining with me tonight is Carson Cass as we get ready to go green. Mr. Rue on pole position, Matt Melanson alongside, and we are green. Heading down to the first corner, and the McLaren of Michael Wenzel behind is immediately going to be posting a charge now. 3 wide down to the first corner, and it's going to be very, very tight, forcing him off the track there just slightly, and it forces Mr. Rue to back out. But no, Michael Wenzel has outbroke himself and done his best Sum 41 impression. He is in too deep. Dr. Porkchop trying to negotiate the position here alongside of Jeff Franks as they go for the same piece of tarmac there. It is going to be Michael Wenzel sliding in for P3, somehow not losing any positions at the end of the day. Mr. Rue drops 1 position to Matt Melanson at the beginning, and Kirill Sintsev, he is fighting side by side, tooth and nail right now for P6.
Yeah, Noah's Ark formation straight into Trident, 3x3, and Wenzel overshot himself very badly there, but this is Odostayev moving in the other side. He's 2x2 with new Porsches. He just can't keep up on that outside line. A bit faster is contact between him and Perez. They both keep it straight into the last turn here as that Porsche breaks a little bit, slowing both those cars down. They're trying to find their way just around these slower cars, and that's the thing with some people have quality pace, some people have race pace, and this is where you're going to see it come out here, as all these cars also have different braking zones, much more apparent in the GT4s and the GT3s as contact between Lee and Perez.
My goodness, and you say different braking zones. Indeed, some of these drivers may be missing their braking zone there just slightly, by just a matter of inches though, but when you're on cold brakes, that's all that it takes sometimes. And here we see Philip Lee, the Irishman, trying to find any sort of ground he can here onto Omar Perez in the AMG. Ahead of that, Reggie King here trying to find pressure in the RKR onto Dr. Porkchop. Hasn't found it just yet. They've fallen off the back, though, just slightly. Rather, Jeff Franks has, of Michael Wenzel in that top pack. It seems it's going to be a 3-horse race up at the top for right now, with Jeff Franks leading the pack behind.
Yeah, Franks 3 seconds off that third-place spot to the podium. Looking a little unattainable for some certain drivers as they have rocketed away. And I think a part of that has been the contact on lap 1, which is very frowned upon in rookies. Most of those drivers who made contact will immediately be given some sort of penalty. A quality ban typically is the lightest form of sentence there, so that's kind of just how the series goes in that sense with the penalties. But Reggie King here chasing that Aston Martin in front of Porkchop. I'm going to make barbecue out of him.
Yes, indeed. A little bit further back than that, though, we also have a battle between some of the newer drivers. This is going to be kind of trying to go down the inside here of the Porsche of Perez, and it looks like the Porsche goes onto the brakes very early, which allows Carlos Padron to try to seek an opportunity there, but there's a car round behind. That's the number 8 of Irel. Kind of made a little bit of a roadblock there momentarily, but the code red slides through without too much of an issue there, and now is in a battle of himself with Stefano Rinaldi to the outside, but I think that's going to be pretty difficult for Rinaldi to find any ground in this corner complex. Sort of a late apex long corner that you're not going to be finding too much into this very quick right-hander coming up here. We'll do some onboards at some point to show you this lap, as of course we didn't do any in qualifying, which is a bit of a disgrace on my part.
Yeah, Fisher is going pretty sweet right now. He's up 5 positions. Reggie King, also one of those drivers, I think right where he started. I'm not sure about that, but he's still chasing that AMR behind. That's another part about the Porsche that's a little bit rough. The only place you can really gain with this car is through the turns, and if you miraculously get a better exit than another car, that go-kart engine will be outpaced pretty quickly. So Reggie King, 6th overall, is doing pretty well as Lee, his other Porsche compatriot, has dropped like a rock, unfortunately, through this field, down 4 slots.
Oof, a little bit of bumping and banging there as Carlos Padron, and it looks like Jaeger Karu is off and facing the wrong direction. We're going to pull up a replay here to see what happened. As we do here, we can see it's been a little bit of a long spin there, stranded in the side, and it looks like an unforced error. Oh my goodness, racking up the frequent flyer miles there, and a nice sick drift to boot for Jaeger Karu, but unfortunately, it is going to result in facing the wrong way.
Yep, just can't save the landing, unfortunately, and runs out of runway. That's Karu, unfortunately, who's been running much different cars throughout that section. But here comes Perez on the attack now into turn 1. In that inside line, he thinks about it, licks the stamp, doesn't send it. That milestone is it's gone. Where did... Oh, the car went off track to the left side. That is Odustayev. Went deep there, right off camera perfectly. The Art of Racing car now alongside of the Perez. Those contacts between those two drivers again happened on the first lap. Happens again. Odustayev into the wall as Perez catches Yadanashi on that other section as well. That is rough. Odustayev also caught him to do it. It is much like a domino effect through the field. That is very rough for those drivers.
Yeah, that certainly was definitely a little bit of over-driving there, unfortunately, and as a result, well, Luis Perez comes off unscathed here as he's going to be making a send up the inside of Connor Cools. Connor a little bit offline there, side by side, now down into the chicane. It's going to be an absolute melee. They go fully alongside. There's bumping and clattering, but both of the AMGs remain strong, and Connor Cools is going to be relinquished there of his P9. Now down into the double digits, and yes, the adrenaline betraying them. It definitely was a clean race up until that point, but Carlos Padron maybe getting, or was it? Yeah, it was Carlos, wasn't it? Kirill, excuse me. Kirill getting a little bit overly zealous might be the word to use, I think.
Yeah, I need to take another look at it. As far as it's concerned in my brain, it is a racing incident. They both looked like they sort of drove into each other. Perez not giving enough room. The Aston Martin going directly into him as well. So a little bit of a rough situation there. Caught a lot more drivers than you would have hoped, but Perez is the one that got away with it pretty well. He's up 2 positions from that accident.
Indeed, we have a still battle going on, though. It is not over just yet for any of these drivers, and it's going to be a 4-way fight soon enough. You can already see the aggression coming out strong here from Padron and the defense from Oliveira. The Porsche, though, We're going to be seeing a nice punchy exit here. Gets fully alongside, takes to the slipstream though, rather than darting immediately to that inside line. That is going to allow the Aston Martin potentially to cover that if he would like, but no, the gap is left open. The Porsche fully alongside now is going to be trying to sign, seal, and deliver it, and he does. Gets it done nice and easy. A little bit deep though into the first corner. That should allow him though to cover off for the next bit, and it looks like that is what's going to happen.
He's got the favorable line there through this next section. Padron started 6th, got involved into a lap 1 incident, is just trying to claw his way back in this section. Has done a pretty good job so far. That 718 car is there is a 2 Camaros off track there. That is the Spady Bud machine, as well as another Camaro. I think his teammate up in front that went off as Perez now chases Spady Bud. That is a lot of contact. We had a pretty clean first lap, but it did not remain that way. 5-car accident dominoes throughout the field, but it's gone pretty well so far tonight, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. You can see, though, these drivers racing with quite a bit of heart. The Heart of Racing car behind here of Krilo Sintsev has maybe shown a little bit too much of that so far and is dialed it down just a bit. You can see the Concertina, though, into the chicane, allowing Konov to get fully alongside the Camaro and is going to be able to get by with relative ease in that mid-sector. This is a very tough spot to be making an overtake happen as well. Rally Dutchy, though, kind of forced onto the unfavorable line. He's going to try to defend what he can, but he loses the position to Oliveira as well.
Someone just said, let's go Celtics, and I don't know if we're talking about the Irish Football Club or if we are talking about the NBA Finals. Either way, that is something I just saw in chat. And speaking of Celtics, we've got Phil Lee doing pretty well right now for himself. I think he's up 4 or 5 positions in that 10th spot and was battling with Krill earlier, who's now finding himself with that Camaro. These Camaros are really rough to race because they go super slow through those corners. Of the slowest car on the track. When they're in the corners, the fastest in the long straights. And you might be able to see that there, that Constantina we saw a little bit earlier, Spady Bud, helping make a sandwich around Krill with Camaros.
We haven't talked too much about our race leaders, but not much has changed. Matt Melanson still in the lead with Mr. Rue behind and Michael Wenzel in 3rd. Although Luis Perez trying to force an issue here onto Connor Cools. It seems that he has actually, or maybe dropped it, no. Unsure who was ahead there at the initial engagement, but regardless, Connor Cools is going to be ahead for now, allowing Luis Perez still on the bumper. We have Carlos Padron trying to make his way up. George Jarvis is the next target here, and it's taking that switchback line, trying to set it up here for the exit of the shorter straight that is going to be heading down towards the, of course, famous left-hander. We've seen well, Fernando Alonso defend through these sectors quite well over the years. Are we going to be seeing George Jarvis? Is he going to have the same level of defense? He clobbers the inside curb there. That's not going to be helping anyone, well, besides Carlos Padron.
Yeah, with how fast Padron has been going up to the order, Jarvis will need Iron Man to help him through this section. He's done super well recovering this race so far, and I'm not surprised at how fast he's gone through the season, but this is going to be a little bit of a tough spot here. Goes a little too far to the right. Those turns were a little too clean. His Porsche is very tight, it seems, throughout these sections. It's a very high downforce setup for it. As speaking of downforce, that McLaren seems to have run out off track there now. Padron chasing on that inside line. He gets through. Now the AMR Vantage behind is trying to find its way through as well, but that McLaren will be able to fend off that British car behind.
Yeah, George Jarvis there just running a little bit wide, picking up the marbles and not really able to have the grip for the defense onto Padron. Oliveira manages to hold on for the time being, or rather doesn't get by for the time being, but I think it's just a matter of time. The pace is certainly there. Last lap was about 0.4 of a second quicker. So it will be, I think, again, a matter of when, not if, but of course it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake in the Hungaroring. Well, it's not too easy. The first corner will be your best opportunity where you can get the biggest run and a nice inside hairpin, but there is somebody stranded. Or no, excuse me, coming out of pit lane. Harrison Waldis in the Alpine is going to be returning to track here in 28th. Looks like there's no mandatory pit stop, so it must have been damage related, I would imagine. But regardless, coming back out, and you love to see that. Here's Spady Bud to the inside of Rally Dutchy. Not going to find anything just yet.
Teammates in other series, not so much this time. Maybe they are just different liveries, but these two cars have been neck and neck throughout the field throughout today, both competing, moving up the order, and it's been pretty rough between these two in terms of history. They have a long history of crashing into each other, whether it's on accident or just tough racing between friends. Not quite sure, but we see Spady make that inside line work. Does a great job, better exit than his teammate Dutchy behind. He gets very fast on that straight, and that V8 in equal machinery will be able to beat him through the straights.
And one bigly with a 253-bit donation. Thank you so much. I'm assuming he'll be racing a little bit later in that 253 machinery. Thank you so much for your continued support, One Bigly, absolute legend. We have a full onboard lap and a livery deep dive. We're trying to find some time for either one of those, as we have George Jarvis trying to get, well, actually just getting overtaken rather by Olivaria, and that, well, is going to be pretty much easily done for Idriel, as the grass line for George Jarvis isn't going to be helping, well, any momentum at all.
Unfortunately, seen a lot of that grass there, and maybe that setup's a bit loose. Maybe not too much where he wants it to be, but he's got to clean it up if he wants to keep his position there. Is now Krill making it work around the inside line. He's got the favorable line. The McLaren knows it's going to happen. Lets him through with relative ease, as now he's going to be facing Spady and his teammate behind.
Also yellow flags from Stefano Rinaldi in the back. Not sure what has happened there, but looks like he has returned to track fairly unscathed. We also can get that full on board of Spady Bud. He's under threat at the moment, so we'll get a little bit of rear wing cam for the time being. As we go down onto the straight, it's going to be a very solid exit for Spady Bud, and Rally Dutchy not quite getting the launch that he would have liked here. The slipstream, though, will be taking effect once they get up to the top speed. Rally Dutchy with the flash of the headlights. You'd love to see it. I think he is watching the stream.
Potentially, or he's just letting Spady know that he's coming down that inside line real close to that back bumper, but he is going to not be able to make the move. Just not enough space or speed for Dutchy behind. Spady will be pretty well off here in this section here, not much place to overtake. It's a very weird left-hander, pretty quick, and you have to take it very perfectly, and it can be a massive swing of about a second as off goes Spady, and that's why we talk about the importance there. Overtaken where he got the overtake last lap. That V8 of the Camaro still trying to stay ahead, but Rally Dutchy shut off there as now he's under threat from the Porsche. Both drivers trying to fight the German machinery behind, rather. As Rally Dutchy goes off as well as Spady, and the Porsche still can't find any way to get through it. And unsettling is that Camaro as Rally Dutchy loses that position to Perez. Is behind is actually, no, he doesn't. They're alongside into the chicane. Perez can't find his way around as Rally Dutchy struts the track, as well as the German Porsche of Perez. Wow, that was a very long stretch of driving into the grass there, Mike.
Yeah, neither driver can stay on track, and I guess neither driver really losing too much in that battle because of that, but hey, that was pretty entertaining, that's for sure. Spady Bud, he's going to be smiling as a result, though. Nobody behind him now, and just has to worry about George Jarvis ahead, and looks like he's going to be trying to send it here soon enough. Onto the curbs on the inside. He's fully by. Made it look easy. Oh, but he gets sent on into the next corner. Contact from the McLaren. Definitely a little bit late on the brakes there for George Jarvis. He does let it by fairly easily, and Spady Bud will retain the position.
Yeah, Camaro is unsettled, to say the least, by that British car behind us. Ooh, bit deep there for Jarvis there. As yes, we'll mention about that previous battle. No contact, which is pretty big for that. And we immediately cut to contact on the two drivers ahead, but Jarvis now maybe looking in the inside, probably realizing here he doesn't have enough room to make it work, as Spady Bud will get through that corner and get a bit of a better exit, or a bit of a worse exit as Jarvis goes a little deep.
Getting wild out here, says Kali. The time is running down, so it's time to get wild. Reggie King here in the RKR trying to pressure onto Dr. Porkchop, finding anything he can. He's trying to look left, he's trying to look right, but there really isn't any opportunities in these middle sectors. Basically waiting for a mistake from the driver ahead, which we've seen plenty of drivers do on any corner of this track. It is not an easy track to be driving, and again, for the first race of the rookies, I'm very surprised that this was the first race.
In positive or negative sense?
A little bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm feeling positive. I think we started with Monza last time, which I'm not sure if we started with it or if that was mid-season, but either way, you got what you expected out of Monza rookies. But Reggie King here has been chasing that back bumper advantage for a very, very long time. That Aston Martin has been within a second of that car behind for, I think, the entire race. And Reggie King just hasn't been able to find the pace to get past him, but has definitely found the pace to keep up, as that teal Aston Martin has been under threat for every second of this 15 minutes that we've gone by so far.
Indeed, you can see the slipstream not quite there for the Porsche, a little bit too far back to make anything happen just yet. It does gain, though, under the brakes. Maybe running a little bit higher downforce setup. That'll be allowing you to have a better sector 2 and 3, but when you're stuck behind the car that's quicker than you and you can't make the overtake, well, doesn't really matter that much. There was Connor Cools, unfortunately we see, or rather Philip Lee dropping the position there to Connor Cools for P8. Connor's been on a bit of a tear, to be honest, here in his debut race at the Trackalicious Rookie League. He's up 4 positions from where he started. Behind that, Philip Lee even where he was, and Moriko Yatanashi up 3 themselves. A little bit of damage, though, picked up on the front end of that 53. Hopefully that's not going to be costing too much lap time, as Luis Perez is going to be close behind.
Yeah, car got caught up in that lap 2 incident that lap 3 incident we saw. And wasn't great, but managed to get that spot back. They were in 9th then. They've almost crawled back to 9th here, but they've got some room to make up. 5 seconds behind Lee, the Irish driver there. But lots and lots of good racing out here tonight. Very clean, honestly, for a race one of the rookies. But I say that we still have 3 minutes left. Rally Dutchy on the back end now of Jarvis, who's been struggling all night long, staying on track. With the Street Animals machine, who I believe was in front at one point, but has fallen back. Here's right on that back end for Jarvis. Not a great turn. That was unsettled. He's alongside with the Camaro through the turn. Coming up now, Rally Dutchy should make it with relative ease. That overtake is pretty good for him. Worse exit for him other than the McLaren, but should be all right as he gets through the chicane with not much trouble. Jarvis having some there going over the bump there, but relative ease for Rally Dutchy, who has had anything but ease with Spadio ahead of him for most of this race.
You could certainly say that. That was an absolute send and a half from Rally Dutchy, to be completely honest. An absolute confident move there. And George Jarvis, I think, left with his jaw on the floor and not able to react. Jaeger Karu behind, trying to do something similar to the teammate, but trying to get by at Noah Johnson. A little bit different of a story, the Aston Martin. Getting sent on, though, into the final corner complex here before they head on into the horseshoe. The braking, or the camera board, Assetto Corsa, you gotta love to see it blocking the overtake, but Jaeger Karu not able to get fully alongside here. He will be trying to send it, though, or rather get a better line, I would imagine, onto the start-finish straight, but again, trying to get a drag race with a Ginetta versus an Aston Martin. Well, we're about to see what the result is. In fact, it doesn't matter. Jaeger Karu signs, seals, and delivers that package pretty easily.
Not over just yet, though. That Aston Martin got a massive exit there on that turn, seeing in that turn 1. Curious if he can keep up. He's going to make a move to the inside. He will have enough pace to make a move here. Jaeger Karu going to get sent on into turn 1. Maybe not. Aston Martin didn't want to risk the braking zone. I believe they've already missed it so far in this race. And honestly, pretty smart. You've got 1 minute and 30 left, which is, I guess, this is your last lap, actually, probably, or second to last lap, rather, as the rookie comes to the section. But Jaeger Karu still with plenty of time to get position, as he's got those 2 cars ahead. Jarvis and Perez now fighting is up to the front. We've got a fight for the final podium spot. Jeff Franks has made that gap, which was 3 seconds at the end of lap 1, down to only half of 1.
Yeah, Jeff here seems to be finding some pace out of nowhere at the end. He's 0.3 quicker last lap and trying to show the advantage. Final lap as we see a car parked off to the side there. That's Harrison Waldis, unfortunately, in the Alpine. It has not been a great race for him. This is going to be a slingshot of an exit, though. Jeff Franks getting alongside the AMG Grunt. He's been in the Porsche for plenty of seasons. This time, he's got some horsepower on the straight. Now, fully alongside, it's going to be a straight-up drag race between the McLaren and the AMG. Haven't seen this since World War II, to be honest. Britain versus Germany, and it looks like Germany is going to come out on top this time. Down to the inside, Jeff Franks takes the position onto the podium.
Wenzel going for the switch back there, but Franks nearly never let off that line, and he had to let off the gas before he ended up in the back end there. But maybe trying to make a move through this difficult sector here. Likely won't. He will not. Gets real close to the back bumper of Franks, but yeah, you mentioned that Mercedes just comes out on top there. Not much that Wenzel could really do there. A little bit unsettled on that curb, but he will not have too many opportunities to get through until the end of this lap.
Now we'll be sticking on here. See the bonnet cam. The aggression is certainly there for Michael Wenzel, but is the move going to be there? We saw the easiest spot in the track is where he got overtaken on. He's not going to have the same opportunity. He just has to hold the pressure. Jeff Franks, I'm not sure I've seen I don't remember the last time we've seen him on the podium. I know I've seen him throw a couple away. Is he going to do it here into the final sector, the most complicated part of the track? And you can see Michael Wenzel really breathing down his neck here as they go through. Onto the back bumper, though. It's going to be tough. It's so hard to make any sort of move here. It's just about Jeff Franks keeping it between the mayo and the mustard, and it seems like he has so far with just a few more corners to go. In fact, gapping now. Michael Wenzel having a bit of a loss there at the exit. I wonder if this is fuel related. He's dropping off rapidly.
Yeah, I think he just got unsettled through, went a little bit deep in that section there and had to recorrect the car. But like you mentioned, I'm not so sure. And yeah, this is it. That's it. That's the end of the race. Matt Melanson, that was the final lap. I don't think I quite realized. Comes across first overall with Rue. 326 laps, not enough. Second place by only 8 seconds. Had a great job of rise. But Geoff Franks, for the first time in quite some time as I can remember, the podium finish for him. Love Wins Racing finishing third with Mike Wenzel right behind. Pork Chop managing to beat Reggie King, 5th and 6th for those two drivers, with Omar Perez recovering from damage, finishing 7th overall. And to round out your top 10, you've got Cools with Lee right behind, and Yatanashi still trying. Oh no, he's not fighting off a driver. He'll be finishing 10th with relative ease, nobody behind him.
Yeah, not bad there for Morico whatsoever, finishing in the top 10. It's a straight-up drag race to the end as Luis Perez steals the position from Drew Freiberger. It doesn't matter that much because Drew Freiberger had a drive-through penalty, now upgraded to a 30-second time penalty, but still entertaining to the line nonetheless. Always putting up a fight there, Drew Freiberger. You love to see it. Behind that, Idriel Olivaria, seeing what he can get onto Kirill Ostintsev, which, of course, these two had their rivalries throughout this race, but they still finish within 0.3 of each other in P15 and 16, respectively. And, of course, this is going to be the starting order of the next race, so don't go anywhere, folks. This is just race 1 of 2 tonight. And then, of course, we have the GT4 Open, after that.
Close enough, yeah. I wanted to highlight Freiberger there. He's going to finish... or they're going to finish 12th overall. They've done a massive job improving, and they had a very rough last season. They came back, put their head down, and just did a great job. And that's exactly what you want to see. No mistakes from them in terms of fully losing the car, but 12th is very, very good for them, I think. I think they've done a massive improvement. We've got our Turkish driver rounding out the top 28. They will finish last of the line, as that was a very, very good race. And I can't even believe we've got 20 more minutes. Or 20 minutes more.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. These rookies are really showing what they have done. Obviously, I think the stat that was posted earlier from Neil Kerbal in chat, as I scroll up and try to find it, chat has been very active. Thank you guys for joining us. There's been 1,142 laps set in the Trackalicious practice server alone. That doesn't count the drivers individually setting their laps on in random servers. Obviously, some drivers don't participate the whole time in the Trackalicious practice server. So very much it's an impressive feat. And a lot of drivers showing the work, showing the effort, and of course, effort is what's going to get you results. As we have, of course, a restart of the server because we have to get the grid set. Shout out to Professor Kenotis for getting all of that set up. And Mr. Roo, top 10, baby. Yes, or Morico, excuse me. Mr. Roo, obviously top 10. Morico, yes, indeed. Just finishing off there in 10th position. Great effort, Morico, and congratulations there.
Yeah, good job on the recovery as well. Got caught in that accident like we saw earlier, but hey, up, I think 3 positions or 4 positions it would be. But yeah, started practicing today. That is, wow. Did great out there.
Yeah, that was insane for a few hours of prac. I think that is very fair of a description. Definitely not many drivers can do that. Why don't we get a little beats in the background? We get some Fortune by Chris Laronde, exclamation mark, music in chat to find Chris Laronde's SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Laronde Alpha. He's got some good beats and he's been producing some bangers recently, so definitely check him out.
Yeah, and speaking of bangers, I don't really know... Or speaking of bangers, I don't know why I said bangers, but either way, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these drivers. I'm not sure how we're distributing them or what the race winner is. I think it's the second race is the only one that's counted for points. So these drivers do have something to compete for the season on the rookies level. They're up. One driver randomly will be selected at the end if they participated for a Coach Dave Delta discount. I don't know how much that is, but then also the race winner will get a Coach Dave Delta discount as well. So we'll see who can come out with that. I'm pretty sure it's the second race because that's how it used to be with placing in terms of points, but I am unsure.
Indeed. Well, more information for you in the next session, I'm sure. Or if anyone in chat, Neil, can enlighten us.
Or Eric.
Or Eric as well, if he is still here.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun either way. So now that there's something on the table, we'll see how aggressive we get on the open lap. But Rue there. I'm really curious about Rue. Put up a very, very consistent time in practice. And you know, maybe just didn't have it all there tonight. I think he made a mistake, lost about 5 seconds in one lap, I believe. So we'll see if they can compete next race. They were pretty good otherwise, and I think that was just a slight mistake that cost them.
And Neil, what is the giveaways that we're doing for the Coach Dave percentages? How is that working? I don't know if you can explain that real quick in chat. That'd be very lovely. And talk about the season opener. Yeah, we can always talk about the season. Why don't we talk about all of our season openers just for a minute and head on over to the calendar? And you can see that we have, of course, our GT4 Rookies and GT4 Open available on Mondays. All of these championships that you are seeing in front of your eyes are available on SimGrid, link in chat. We, of course, have our Street Stock Championship. That's going to be tomorrow on the iRacing platform. We're branching off slightly there from ACC every day of the week. We got 2 iRacing championships, the Super Light Formula on Thursdays as well. Of course, we have the Syntho Drive Championship on Wednesday and West Coast Wednesday as well. I'm just going to be starting off with the Red Bull Ring on June 19th. So this Wednesday coming up, definitely stay tuned for that. We, of course, have the Road to SRO and SRO CWC, the Community World Challenge, starting off at Spa-Francorchamps, followed by Bathurst and Nordschleife. One race every month, and our GT3 Championship on Sundays as well. That is going to be, of course, the main event. And what a race we had last night, by the way, Carson. And more to come of that championship, of course. And before we get on into it, though, just want to say thank you to all of our patrons as well. Of course, all the V12 exotics. You guys are what makes it possible here. And Moriko as well, again, joining that Patreon very recently. So thank you so much. We'll get that updated. And of course, thanks to all of the inline 4s and V8s and just server donors in general, as well as all the Twitch subscribers. You guys make what we do here possible. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, all the support that goes through this is what makes these beautiful, very fun leagues to run, and we can have 5 leagues up for that reason with special events. Again, for that reason, and your support is what keeps us running. But yeah, I mean, I don't know Eric's race winner gets the coupon, but I don't know. We have 2 races. I'm gonna assume that's the second race. It's like a second race, like NASCAR, with a stage in the middle where you don't get points.
Yes, indeed. It is a bit confusing, I won't lie, but we'll make do with it. So yes, you can see what Neil there said in chat. Basically, the winner of the race will get 1 month free coupon and a random drawing for the rest of the drivers. We'll be doing that every race, I'm pretty sure. Yes, each race winner will get a free coupon. Yes, I'm assuming that only applies once. I think Carson clarified that before. So that it'll only apply one time. Yeah. So if you are a winner, I think it'll probably get bumped down to the next person, I would imagine. I don't know. I don't know how we're doing that, but don't quote me on that one for sure.
Don't quote us on that for sure. Yeah, yes, Kirill, I think your name is, F1 Charged. Yeah, I do remember you, obviously. We had very good tandem drafting together at Talladega this week. But yeah, as we jump in here, I'm very, very excited for the second race. I'm very curious to see how Rue will respond with a slight mistake through that. That section has done really, really well to, I guess, just keep the pace consistent. Now they just need to keep it a little bit faster, but Melanson has done an excellent job. And I wanted to point something out about Melanson. This is a big piece of the rookies just being, you know, really good despite them being rookies. Melanson would have had the 5th fastest time in the GT4 Open practice sessions if he was practicing in that server. So it just kind of shows that pace is similar, and those guys will go out there and probably, I'm guessing Melanson's going to do the GT4 Open later tonight and compete there. So it's very, very interesting. We've got a lot of different drivers out here tonight in terms of skill level, and that's what makes it, I think, great.
Indeed, and thank you, JP War 03 for the follow, much appreciated. Getting close to that goal again. I think we're about 80 followers away now, 77 followers away, so getting ever closer to the 2200 goal that's coming up. So thank you guys so much for being a part of that. And as it stands, I think we finally are into this. Okay. Yes, indeed.
77. I was looking at the number 201 or 2123 and looking at 2200, and I could not discern how different those two were. But yeah.
Let's get on into this here though, and let's get to meet our drivers. We are pushing the time here. Black screen of anticipation before we see the grid. Love to see it. And let's get on in and start off very soon when I click the correct buttons. You love to see it. There we are.
Well, do you want me to go? You want?
We're good. I'll start off. Starting off here, up at the front is going to be Matt Melanson, the number 33. He took it off the pole position and managed to hold it for the next 20 minutes. And Mr. Rue finishing off in second. Can he respond? The 2:05 Australian driver is going to have to be trying to do basically a repeat of what happened to him in the previous. Jeff Franks coming home in third position here. A podium finish for the Love Wins Racing and a great result as well. I think Jeff will be very happy with himself for that. Michael Wenzel coming home in fourth position for the 619 with Dr. Porkchop behind in fifth. Reggie King coming home in sixth position with Omar Perez in seventh. Connor Cools, eighth fastest here in the race with Philip Lee behind in ninth. And rounding out your top 10 is Moriko Yatanashi.
In 11th, you'll have Luis Perez, making the difference there for him as my ACC is bugging out right now, Mike. I'm going to have to ask you to retake. Oh, nope, we fixed it. Either way, we've got Perez starting off in the 11th spot. Nope, it's completely broken. I'm not going to lie to you, Mike. I'm going to have to hand this off one to you.
All right, Luis Perez, 11th fastest in the 414 with Michael Mack behind him in P12 in the 31. Carlos Padron, 13th quickest with Kirill Osintsev behind him in 14th. Going to be trying to minimize the bumping and banging in this race for sure with Idriel Olavarria. I think another driver that is going to have to be trying to limit that contact as well. Spady Bud behind in P16, 20 in the number 21 Camaro. Rally Dutchy 17th quickest with Jaeger Karu Company in P18. Drew Freiberger 19th fastest, as well as Noah Johnson rounding out our top 20. Hristo Kanov in P21 for the number 16, the Bulgarian driver, with John Boy Thornton in P22, number 77. George Jarvis, 23rd quickest with Mike Fisher next to him in P24. John Watt in 25th. Stefano Rinaldi 26th. And last but not least is Harrison Waldis. Didn't I already say that name? But anyways, Harrison Waldis in P28.
Yeah, not to mention, there's unfortunately some lore on this channel. I do have the evil copy of ACC that does not work, ever, no matter how hard I try.
The drivers, though, out for their out lap as holy smokes. What was that?
That was
Eric, get out of here. What was that?
What was that?
I just think that there was a lot of questions about the prizes. So coming in from the road just to inform and quickly let you guys know what's going on there.
Eric coming in from the 1950s.
The prizes will go to the winner of each race. And if someone's already won, then it would go to the next person. And then there's going to be one random draw per night of all the drivers that attended. So there's going to be 3 winners each night for every week of the Rookie Series. And it's of a Coach Dave Delta app, which will help all the drivers improve. So appreciate the sponsorship from SimGrid and Coach Dave Delta. And looking forward to getting some prizes out to these guys and helping them improve.
Absolutely. So far, Matt Melanson looking like the one to contend for that, but will Mr. Rue manage to find anything? We will find out soon enough. Halfway through the 2.7 mile outlap here at Hungaroring for race 2 as we get ready for the the calm before the storm. I think it was a very clean race last time around, to be fair, so I think we might be anticipating a bit of chaos as we had in the first race, or we were anticipating in the first race, but didn't quite see. So hopefully the drivers can keep it clean again.
Yeah, those watching stream now understand what's at stake fully. I think it was described, though, in the pre-race briefing. I still attended, but I guess did not listen to enough. Either way, Matt Melanson, the 33 car, going to be leading us off. I believe was not on pole last time. Was he on pole last time, or was that Rue?
Mr. Rue.
Yeah, Rue was on
Rue
pole. Yeah, Melanson took it and ran last time. We'll see if that's any different. 8 seconds between those two drivers at the finish. I believe it was from a mistake, so let's see if you can get a little closer, but I might say, typically the second race is a lot more chaotic than the first. Make sure you sit on the edge of your seats a little bit closer to the screen so you can see all the action here as we head into the final corner complex.
Yes, indeed. 13-14. Well, 13 into 14, of course. Again, the not too many names on this corner. In fact, no names for any of these corners, except for Pigeon Corner, which we dubbed a couple seasons ago. That's, of course, the kink to the left-hander before the middle complex. But anyways, neither here nor there. 2x2 Noah's Ark formation is the grid, and it's a rolling start for these drivers as we get ready to get underway here tonight. I'm Mike Noss in the booth. Joined with me tonight is Carson Cass. Matt Melanson on pole position with Mr. Rue challenging for the P2 as we go Or rather, get ready to go green, 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 and Matt Melanson is going to be off with a drive-through penalty immediately. Mr. Rue going to fully capitalize with the pressure. I think Matt Melanson with a moral boost already into the, or rather, moral hit into the first corner. He's going to defend, though, with as much as he can. 3 wide behind, though. Reggie King trying to force an issue as he gets pressured on by Omar Perez and Dr. Porkchop. Everybody, though, fanning out so far, and not too much contact. There's a couple cars off in the back, but for now, oh my goodness, that's a send and a half from Connor Cools. He is going to go barreling and careening into the side, and it looks like we're going to be having a parking lot on the M4 here tonight, and there's a few M4s involved.
Yeah, quick left-hander there. A lot of big cars blocking those sections there, the BMW and the AMG, keeping a lot of drivers with a massive shake-up to the order. George Jarvis moving into 7th place after starting 15th. All the way back up. He's moving up that order. That is incredible for them. I mean, that is a very rough. I'm curious if that's going to be a race restart. Nothing on that yet. Michael Mack, though, leading the pack through this little section here, is lost a lot of drivers through that section. I think Yatanashi had a very good start. I don't see him anymore.
Yatanashi is in 25th now, was definitely caught up in that incident. I'm not sure what caused it, but definitely a few drivers were collected in it. But it seems that everyone's managed to recover to a certain extent. Now, plenty of yellow flags in chat, and understandably so, but there's been some drivers that have benefited. In fact, Rally Dutchy up 9 positions with Jaeger Karu managing to get through the chaos as well, up 9 positions. These two teammates need to work together at this stage. They have Carlos Patron behind, who we've seen is quite quick in P10 right now, finishing or up 3 positions from 13th where they finished in the previous session. And so far, a bit of breathing room for the top, I think. That's one of the benefits that, of course, these drivers now have. But now we got a 4-way battle basically underway here for P7.
Yeah, Melanson, that drive-through penalty is going to hurt a little less, but it's still definitely going to sting. He's, I assume, hopefully got him immediately in, or he's just going to take the 30-second time hit at the end. We'll have to see. Jaeger Karu putting pressure on. I'm not sure if they're teammates tonight, though, Mike. Rally Dutchy is under pressure from 2 cars, both the Porsche and Jaeger Karu. They both could make a move, but right now Jaeger Karu's under threat. And that's Carlos alongside into that first corner. Let's see here. Gets alongside. Porsche goes even further in, almost makes a move on Dutchy. He'll make that overtake with relative ease, but Jaeger Karu on the switchback. They'll come down Trident formation nearly. They almost go 3 wide. He goes outside. Jaeger Karu goes outside of the inside line. Oh my goodness, 3 in a row. They're going to go as theirs turned. He gets swiped and he's spent like a credit card. Jaeger Karu, the 20 car. Some damage there, but he'll be quite all right. Good recovery for him there. Spady Bud doing a little off-roading behind that Porsche.
Not sure I've seen the Camaro win any WRC championships, but he's going to be trying here tonight. Spady Bud piloting through here, through Pigeon Corner and onto the middle complex where he is going to be chasing down Carlos Patron. We also have thank you to Kinetcom82, welcome, and cheering on who is going to be Olivaria, currently running in 15th position. I don't think they made it. Did they make it through the chaos? It looks like they're even where they started, so I'm not sure they made it through the chaos fully, but didn't pick up too much damage, it seems, maybe a little bit to the back. Jeff Franks, who was once in P3, now has plummeted like a stone in the Marianas Trench all the way down into P24 and battling for the scraps here with Joanne Perez as well as Connor Cools.
This is where we're going to see a lot of different talent in rookies and a lot of different experience come into play. Jeff Franks has been in the rookies for quite some time, has made some massive improvements, but now he's in the spot where there's just kind of pace of varying amounts all around, and that Porsche in front of him caught him by that Aston Martin. They make contact. The Porsche into the wall, nearly catches Cooley as Cooley gets caught by Franks. Both AMGs off track. That is massive damage for both of them. And the Porsche making initial contact makes out relatively unscathed. Let's jump into a replay.
So let's see this from a little bit of a different angle. We're going to be watching Jeff Franks there in that Loved Ones Racing. So he gets rather ahead of them. He gets concertinaed up. Jeff trying to avoid the contact, goes onto the grass and collects Connor Cools, who was involved in that incident earlier and now has been involved in one himself, and that AMG. Not quite abiding to yellow flags fully, but managing to make it through with relative ease and not too much damage at all. But behind that is going to be, or rather ahead of that now, we have a battle for P22, but that certainly is not what we wanted to see here on lap 2.
Yep, but it definitely will happen. It's rough. You lose the car in the wrong spot. You take someone else down with you, and that 420 car will be out there. But like we mentioned, differing pace there. This is John Wad, who is struggling a little bit here with that Porsche behind. He's trying to find his way around him, trying not to make contact. Nearly did. Too much pace there. We mentioned different braking zones. That Porsche brakes really late, probably the latest out of any car. and is really good on overtakes, but can be really rough in certain sections as Wad goes off, but the Alpine behind him goes off even farther into the distance. I'm not quite sure who that was, but it will certainly be into the barrier. Hopefully not too hard, but Luis Perez chasing Wad now down.
This is a bit of a clown fiesta. Luis Perez making ease on that overtake. John Wad here, something up with the car. Definitely not quite. Seems like not pushing the throttle down fully, allowing Jeff Franks through with relative ease as well. Ahead of that, though, we have a very heated battle at the moment, as we see there. Adriel Olivaria from Puerto Rico, it seems, as we have from chat. Thank you for confirming that. Not a Brazilian, my apologies. But Adriel here getting by John Boy Thornton, and this battle is certainly a bit of a knife fight in a phone booth at the moment. George Jarvis seeing what he can find to the inside, but side by side from Noah Johnson and Kirill Ostintsev behind. The camera, of course, getting blocked by the board, as you'd love to see it, but nobody getting by anyone at this stage.
I appreciate realism, but I do not appreciate poor camera angles, and you can't have one without the other, unfortunately, sometimes, because that actually is a terrible camera angle that they use in F1, so I can't really blame them on that too much, but the F1 cars typically go through it really quickly, not a GT4 car. Noah Johnson here chasing down Kirill. No one really going to have too much of an opportunity to overtake into turn one. These are varying paces from different drivers going through as Matt Melanson takes his full drive-through penalty. He'll come out in 12th. A lot of spots to gain. He'll come out right in front of that train, though. Luckily for him, no traffic just yet.
Indeed, Mr. Rue now taking the lead of the race. We also have a full onboard lap for the number 20. I'm sure we'll hit that at some point here. At the moment, though, we can see Adriel getting a little bit hot into the second, or rather third corner, and now getting pressured on by Thornton, but Thornton not quite able to find the side panel, or rather get enough momentum to get it fully alongside. Here's Omar Perez and Dr. Porkchop. These two have been working together for a little bit, but I think Omar is trying to work his position up into fifth at the moment. You can see him putting the pressure on heavily to Porkchop. Philip Lee, though, hasn't really gotten away too much either. And now Dr. Porkchop goes wide, allowing Omar Perez potentially the run in Sector 3. It's going to be one of the better overtaking spots at the end of this sort of straight, but not going to happen. It's definitely one of those that you have to be, well, very, very confident on the brakes.
The Irishman is very, very happy with what's going on behind Porkchop and Perez. Dueling behind him, and he's going to get a big position gain there. He's gone up a ton of spots throughout this race, as well as Perez. Tons of guys with a bunch of race pace maybe didn't do the best that they could in quali, but definitely benefiting from situations. Matt Melanson down to 12th, things like that, as rookies definitely has much more of an element of chaos than we've seen in other series, which I guess I would say if last night wasn't so chaotic for the GT3s as well.
That just tends to be how it goes in terms of the rookies. They're always the cleanest racing, and nobody really knows why. I think it's because they care, to be honest, and you know, no shot to the year, no disrespect to any of the GT3 drivers. Ooh. There's Omar Perez. As I say how clean the racing is, Omar Perez goes careening into the back bumper of Dr. Porkchop. He does get on the brakes, though, and says, my bad. That was, well, your bad, Perez, but that's okay. At least you admit it.
Yeah, that's the one part that I also see a lot in the rookies that we don't really see as much in other championships. If you're not in this championship, please take notes. The respect level here is so high. Perez, I mean, immediately saw that, went wide, and just stopped the car. He waited for that Aston Martin to get around, and normally you'll see that happen where the only point where they'll drive off ahead of the driver they hit is if that driver is long gone and not going to be able to return to the track, and Perez waiting for the Aston Martin to continue their battle, which has been pretty close so far, flashing him, letting him know that he's in his rear mirror as well.
Yeah, also the battle between Marco Yatanashi and George Jarvis. Marco's trying to be on that recovery drive, started in 10th, got collected in the incident earlier, now down 8 positions, has found the position over Drew Freiberger. Next up is George Jarvis for him, though. Kirill Ostintsev trying to find anything he can with this battle between John Boy Thornton and Adriel Olivaria. Adriel seems to be off the ball right now in terms of pace. And John Boy trying to capitalize, I should say. 0.6 is the difference in lap time. But again, it's one thing to catch. It's certainly another thing to overtake. This track is not easy whatsoever. And when you're not quite familiar with it fully, which again, a lot of these rookies have put plenty of practice in, so they definitely will be. But you never know. Of course, we saw from chat that, Moriko, I think, didn't put the full practice in, just started practicing today. So that could explain why getting caught up in the incident. But honestly, we never saw, so maybe not speak on that one.
Yeah, those are the two levels of rookies. Practice today and 396 or 386 laps, whatever it was. It's definitely a varying championship, and it's pretty fun to see that as Rue there. I think Rue Can't see because my ACC crashed, actually, but Rue, I believe, on top right now of the standings. Yeah,
yes.
on top. On set for a race win. Not sure what that gap is between Wenzel and them, but into this first corner, we've seen Michael Mack here trying to fend off that Porsche with a AMG looming behind. The Porsche gets through. Now he's under threat from Melanson on the inside. Started in first, going to move past 2 cars at once. What an overtake for the Crazy Rabbits racing, jumping in to P10 there as Dr. Porkchop is off. We jump on a replay. Curious if Perez was involved in this.
Perez obviously had an incident earlier with Porkchop. Let's see, a little bit further back this time, and it is going to be involving Omar Perez. Omar struggling with the middle pedal this time around, and it does look like he did yield again, but more and more damage being picked up on that AMG is certainly not going to be helping that battle. And then we just briefly caught Spady Bud getting by Jaeger Karu. Now trying to get by the other street animals here. That's going to be Rally Dutchy.
Yeah, these guys are all in the same Discord call together, all 3 of these. Spady Bud up to 7th. This would be his highest finish in any series so far. Moves past Rally Dutchy with relative ease, leaving Jaeger Karu to try and fight him now. Spady Bud, the highest he's been seen so far. I know he's been putting in tons of work outside of this with Pranav Kalevala. If you know who that is, Visceral. One of the Visceral honors is Jaeger Karu. Almost gets past, gets blown by Matt Melanson.
Yeah, drops it there just momentarily. The front end not complying, and it looks like something might be up there. Jaeger Karu overdriving the Ginetta is going to drop another position to Michael Mack, as well as Carlos Padron sending it to the inside of Michael Mack as well. Now coming to the out. The board, of course, being in the way, and Carlos Padron doesn't find anything of it, but it looks like Michael Mack trying to stick it fully alongside to the out and not going to be able to get anything done.
8 minutes left, Jaeger Karu. I think the only part that is really wrong is that he's driving the Ginetta. It's super, super unruly through these turns, take too much curb, and it is not a good recipe. But Padron now chasing on this other section. We've got 2 battles going into turn 1. Padron under pressure. Maria watching both from the middle side. That Aston Martin goes right around, and ahead of them, Matt Melanson trying to make a move on Rally Dutchy. Michael Mack on the inside of the Ginetta here, looking past Jaeger Karu. Karu, a bit of a wider line, going to have a better exit. Mack, the 31 car, alongside the Ginetta, and the Ginetta will blow right by in a straight line. It seems that they can have either way, whether he's not fully alongside. Still, he's going to have that favorable line of the section, but he slides it through the corner. A little bit of drifting as both Vantages take advantage of that mistake. The Ginetta losing 2 spots in 1 turn.
You absolutely hate to see it. Oh, Jaeger Karu is all over the place, wrestling an octopus right now, it seems, with that Ginetta. Adriel Olivaria trying to find any weaknesses he can on to Michael Mack. And ahead of that, Matt Melanson, who started up at the top here in P2, obviously had their P1, excuse me, had the drive-through penalty off the bat. And Krilo Sinsev also getting a drive-through penalty. Matt Melanson checks to the outside there, which maybe unsettled Spady Bud. You can see that kind of defensive line being taken in the chicane. There's not going to be much of an overtaking opportunity through there, though I say that. We've seen a couple before, as the rookies never fail to disappoint when it comes to overtaking in spots that you would never expect to. And Matt Melanson, though, continuing on to the outside, trying to wiggle any way that he can, just really getting in the head there of Spady Bud and trying to force him into any mistake he can. He feels the pace, he feels the confidence down the inside of the turn 12. And it is going to be done and dusted, I would imagine, although the AMG not quite as punchy as the Camaro on the exit, and the Camaro gets it fully locked up. But the switchback here for the AMG, no, not quite. Spady Bud being a very, very valiant fighter at the moment. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, very, very close alongside there. Spady just alongside some contact, I believe, with the 2 cars. One thing that Spady said to me that I will always remember: I may not be good, but I am not a coward. He will not let Melanson have that position, no matter what. It's going to be a very long fight for Melanson if he cannot find enough pace to get through here. On that inside line, he's flashing, letting Spady know that he's not a backmarker. Melanson has to find a way through, and Spady, I don't think, has done really too much that is bad. I really think he's shown some massive improvement throughout this section, and I'm very, very proud of these drivers for seeing something like this. Spady on the inside line has a favorable line still. Melanson not able to find enough pace, as now they got Rally Dutchy closing in from behind.
Yeah, we'll see if Rally can get involved in this fight. That would really put a thorn in Matt Melanson's side. He's trying to dispatch Spady Bud and has been for a while now, and just isn't finding the placement. The AMG seemingly not quite as exuberant on the throttle as the Camaro, and certainly not quite on the brakes. Almost into the back bumper there of Spady Bud, but he does keep it clean for the time being. Now a look to the inside of the chicane. and it is just going to be that, a look, not quite going to be putting it alongside. That would be a bold, bold move. And shout out to Spady Blood for the defensive masterclass. Yes, indeed. Spady is defending like an animal right now, and Matt Melanson, he really can't find any pace.
Yeah, Melanson just can't seem to get through. Spady Bud, a little bit of different lines. That's what we're talking about, skill levels. Brakes maybe a little earlier than Melanson expects. Has to get caught behind that back bumper, but he's got to move on the outside. Takes extra track to try and get a better exit, but he can't do it before the grass comes. Melanson stuck behind Bud, and they move into 6th and 7th, respectively. Someone ahead has gone off and gone into the pits. Spady Bud moving up a position. He wouldn't even technically lose one fully if Melanson came back. Oh no, Spady Bud goes a bit wide. He's made a mistake, but he's still got that favorable line. Melanson will have to beat him in a drag race. He's late on the brakes. Spady Bud perfect through there. They're going alongside, trying back onto the stop straight. But Matt Melanson is still stuck behind Bud. That Camaro has got some life to it. The Galaxy theme 21 car has got that Melanson on pole. He's put down the fastest lap in practice, second to fastest lap on pole. Has done an excellent job keeping him behind. Real close to the back bumper. Melanson can't get it through. He makes a mistake even, and Spady Bud stays ahead.
Spady Bud a little late on the brakes himself, though. This is an all-out drive from both of these drivers. You can see it 110% right now, and they are giving it their all. That's Omar Perez, my bad. Matt Melanson finally, though, finds an opportunity. Spady Bud wide through turn 3 and now into 4. He's going to sign and deliver that one. Off the track, maybe a controversial one, but I don't think he's handing that position back.
If I was race director, he definitely would be. That is a way wide for Melanson. Didn't touch the track there throughout that entire turn, it felt like. But hey man, finally got through. But to be real, that was one heck of a battle from the two drivers.
You could definitely argue he was ahead before he went off the track. So I think, honestly, I don't think the race directors would be too unhappy with that. But Spady Bud, credit where credit's due. That was, well, basically a Titan defending against a tree, more or less. So Spady Bud, the tree has come a long way and the roots have been planted deep now. And I think we are going to be seeing quite a good driver in the future out of Spady Bud.
Yeah, I mean, he puts down the work, is on the track most of the time, and mainly having fun, but it seems like he's seriously locked in here as Luis Perez takes a little bit much more curb. I believe the thing with those Mercedes is through that section, they can take way more curb than that McLaren, as you saw there. Turned in way later, or didn't turn at all, rather, that second turn. He just kind of ate the curb and jumped right over it. As Perez putting pressure now onto Jarvis. And those two drivers will just be locked, intertwined for a little longer. Not too many opportunities through here. As Jarvis way slower brakes than that section. We're not really supposed to. Perez, massive job to go around and not hit him. Gets that position, and that is, wow, that was breezed right on by.
Full confidence move from Luis Perez, and no hesitation was the key there. That's obviously one of the key factors, is he didn't even think about that. That was just a move that he felt and went for 100%, and it absolutely was rewarded for that. Behind that, Jeff Franks, who, again, on that recovery drive, he has managed to drop 19 positions from P3 after getting involved in an incident early on in lap 1, and big damage on the bonnet with Krilla Sintsev in front, who also has some damage on the bonnet. Both races, it seems Krill has gotten into a little bit of trouble. Noah Johnson there drops the position to Drew Freiberger, and Drew Freiberger drops the position to Noah Johnson. It's a game of Canadians here at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of different drivers just from all around mainly the North American scene, as we saw here, the Puerto Rican, as you mentioned, as very weird font. Whenever I see people type PR, it's like in a very specific font, and I don't know why that is, but I always realize that it's a Puerto Rican, not even because they said PR, but because the font is, they always send it in like a special font, and I think that's, I don't know, I just think that's really fun. I don't know if it's the same person that's been doing it or not, but it is, it's pretty great on that other section.
Yeah,
it's because it's an emote, and I'm not looking at... It's on me, guys.
All good. Welcome to Knitcom 82. Oh, I think you're already here. My apologies. That's right. You are the fan there of Oliveria. Oliveria, who has currently, let's see, where is P11? Krilla Sintsev has dropped it again. 4 positions gained for Idriel at the moment, and now trying to hold on for dear life, but a drive-through penalty has been rewarded for extending track limits, unfortunately, so Idriel is going to drop probably down into P18 or below, if I had to make a guess.
Yeah, speaking of drive-through, I'm curious if Melanson is at all on that section, because he's been going around drivers. I've noticed he's been off track a few times, and it'd be very amiss to say if he did not get one for what he did with Spady earlier. Curious to see. I mean, he's a very good driver, but It's going to be tough if you get a 30-second penalty at the end of this, as he's made a massive gap to Spady, as you can see behind him. There's really nothing.
Few battles still trying to be underway here as Jaeger Karu and John Boy Thornton. John is kind of off the track here, definitely a little bit deep, and Jaeger Karu gets gifted that position. Now up the road is Israel Oliveria, who I would imagine is going to fight, but not necessarily to the extent that they normally would. With that drive-through penalty, they're going to have to serve at this lap or face a 30-second penalty at the end of the race, which I'm assuming they'll just take, because I don't think they can actually go down pit lane in time unless their stop box is late. Anyways, Michael Mack side by side with Rally Dutchy, and Rally is, I think, going to break. No, not early.
Ooh.
Fights it off there, and it looks like Michael Mack goes deep, hands the position, well, back, as of course he didn't rightfully take it, and Rally Dutchy is going to continue on in P9.
Yeah, still under threat here. Plenty of track left to go for Mack, who a little bit faster than Rally Dutchy has put massive pressure onto that Camaro and the Street Animals machine, and I'm very, very curious to see if he can stay ahead. Mack, that deep send there going very, very poorly for him. He's losing massive chunks of time, went down all the way to a second after being alongside and likely to overtake. But both of these guys shouldn't be too much of a threat for somebody who just crossed the line. Mr. Rue, first win in Trackalicious, I believe, his second ever race here, followed by Michael Wenzel, second place. Third, Reggie King's first podium of the season, and first podium for a Porsche, followed by the Irishman Lee. Fifth overall will be Dr. Porkchop, making a PhD out of excellent defensive class on Omar Perez, who will finish sixth behind, and Matt Melanson did an excellent job in the recovery drive, finishing seventh overall. Had to deal with some trouble along the way. Got all the way back in eighth. We see our Minister of Defense, if we will, Spady Bud, his highest finish in Trackalicious ever. That is quite the drive from him. The Camaro sliding across the line with his teammate Rally Dutchy behind. Flashing there, Michael Mack not quite getting there as he finishes 10th overall, or 9th, unsure. Yeah, I think somebody already
10th.
Left. Yeah.
Jaeger Karu 11th, John Boy Thornton 12th, Carlos Padron in 13th, Marco Yamanashi 14th, Adriel Olivaria 15th, Noah Johnson in 16th, Drew Freiberger 17th, Luis Perez 18th, George Jarvis at 19th, and rounding out our top 20 is going to be, unfortunately, Jeff Franks after what is going to be a bit of a disappointing drive, but definitely nothing to shake a stick at after the first race, finishing P3. I don't think he'll be disappointed with that whatsoever. Now just wait, of course, folks. We have another race coming up after this. We have the GT4 Open, as well as some interviews with our drivers, and if we have some time, we might get a little stream racer in. We'll see.
Mike, I do need to say I will be right back. Not to abandon you, unfortunately.
You got it.
Take a quick moment. I got to sort some things out. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. We'll head back to the booth real quick, and it will be just me in the booth for the time being. And Carson will be back shortly. But what a race, and what a championship we are going to be having here underway for the future. I certainly cannot wait for the prospects that are to come for the GT4 rookies. You can already see how clean it's been. The racing's been clean. It's been a little aggressive towards the middle part of the race, of course, but these drivers, I think, aren't going to disappoint when it comes to entertainment by any stretch of the imagination, as we just take a quick little snapshot of the standings, of course. Just 2 secs, chat. There we are. Lovely. But as we get on into it here, we're going to be waiting for some interviews. Rue, if you would like, you can hop on into the green room and we can pull you down after that race win. And as well as a few other drivers. If you guys did finish on the top 3, you're more than welcome to join. So Michael Wenzel and Reggie King just sneaking in there. Reggie King. I think that's a name that we didn't quite even pay much attention to. But congratulations there to them. And on the meantime, I think we'll be try and get Stream Racer up and hope for some interviews from these guys. Spady Bud, let's go. Top 7, indeed. Great job, Spady. It was a lovely battle that we caught at the end. Got to watch pretty much the whole thing, so definitely go and check that one back. Morco, not quite. Yeah, definitely not. I think a few drivers, unfortunately, were collected in that incident on lap 1 and costed quite a few people greatly, unfortunately. Galaxy 12312334, thank you for the follow. And no, sorry, Spady, you got to be on the podium, brother. One day. Seems that there's no one joining the green room. Man. No one wants to get interviewed, huh? That's all right. Spady, you did a great job today. Don't sell yourself short. As we have it, you guys can probably hear in the background, we are going to be getting into some Stream Racer. It's been a while. We have the return, though. And let's get on into a somewhat short track. For anyone that doesn't know what Stream Racer is, well, buckle your seatbelts because you have an interesting ride ahead of you.
I love Stream Racer, Mike. I'm the biggest Stream Racer fan.
And there is Mr. Carson Cass back at the booth. Welcome. And heck of an opener from Rally. Yes, indeed, Rally. Great racing. I got to say, again, a lot of excellent drives throughout the entire field. And of course, there's more to come. We have the GT4 open 45 minutes ahead of us. But until then, chat, I haven't tried this scene in a while. Let's hope that it works. As we head on down to Stream Racer, it worked. Look at that. Sorry, Carson. I don't think I have one. We can get you up in here.
I mean, it's quite all right.
All right, that's fine. We'll keep you out of it for now. Sorry.
I have a slice of sourdough I'm going to eat. I'm not even going to lie to you, man.
Exclamation mark race in chat if you want to get involved here, and we'll be starting this off in about a minute. Now, what is this? All you have to do is have Twitch. It is going to be AI racing. You're going to be entered in a highly competitive race with the absolute top tier AI drivers that is everybody in chat. So if you want to be the best in chat, well, this is how you can do it. Exclamation mark race to get involved. Heck, I think Carson and I will even get involved. Bam. Previous race winner, by the way, me, and podium sitter multiple times. So we got some pretty fierce competition in the server. Karu, I think, is another race winner for the Stream Racer Championship. And let's see, Morico potentially has taken a win. We got Wet Socks in here. Here we go, the Provolone fan base. You love to see it. Chonkzilla TV.
I think I've yet to finish a race in this. I always boost it maybe the worst time imaginable and fly away. It's kind of awesome how bad I am at this, to be real with you.
All right, chat. 1 minute. 1 minute on the clock till we get on into the session exclamation mark race, if you are interested. And Morico's gotten close for a win. Okay, that's what it was. Podium sitter is Morico.
I don't really know, like, the strategy for the boosts. Like,
I mean, I've won the race without boosting, so I don't know if there is a strategy, to be completely honest.
Well, I think what I learned is you shouldn't do it before the jump. That's generally the best option, is what I've learned. I have sent it too hard many a time, on track and off track, and in the booth, I guess.
20 seconds, chat. Exclamation mark race if you want to get involved. We got 13 drivers, and there's room for plenty more. Mel's drive-through killed you. Yeah, unfortunate. A bit of an grid place infringement that took you down. Here we go, chat. 7 seconds. 13 drivers about to compete for the top of the time charts here in Stream Racer, one of the most infamous racing games on the market. And simulators as well, of course. It's not just a game, chat. This is real life. As we go and get ready, Noonamaker's somewhat on pole position, but Root Paper Scissors is off and looking for the back-to-back race win, but not going to happen as they catch the grass. Googatuga, that's going to be Carson, is off and into the wall. Managing to take the lead, though, early on. It seems that the barrier catching a few drivers out there. Karu getting involved. Up ahead, though. Oh, Neo Kabuki takes the lead, but takes the cone with him as well. And Carson pushing him along. Noonamaker's alongside there through the arena sector. Mel's trying to give a nice helping hand as they bump draft through. He gets clipped by the bullard, and now into the very technical tires section. Carson is everywhere, but not going anywhere. And Mel's, everybody's struggling in the technical tire section. I'm getting pushed through, though, thankfully. Carson gets hung up on the bullard, unfortunately. Morico, though, slingshots with the exclamation mark boost at a perfect time. Karu, though, takes it nice and slow, and of course the turtle beats the hare, folks. Morico off into the grass, having a lovely picnic. Oh, Chonkzilla getting the boost of a lifetime, takes Karu out and goes too fast, breaks the sound barrier, and gets hung up on an invisible wall. Does a little bit of a flip on top of it. Now taking the trolley through the S's. Neo Kabuki avoiding the trolleys, though. It's a very smart strategy, but gets hung up on the barrier. Now into the tight hairpin. Noonamaker's helping out his fellow teammate. There you can see in the equal machinery in the sedan. Oh, but everybody now coming through. Neo Kabuki getting the shove from Zane Blisket as it's an absolute pile-up and calamity here. Carson struggling to get through. Zane Blisket on the run with Nunamakers through the cones, clears the path for the rest of the folks, but everybody goes deep and forgets that the break exists. Root, paper, scissors, the nice guy that he is, takes the cone with him, but drops it off shortly after. No, he continues with the cone, trying to bring it down to the checkered flag. Nunamakers, though, gets stuck on the horizontal bullards. Carson negotiates the chicane perfectly, as Neo Kabuki is taking the lead. Neil Kerbal ahead right now. Karu behind. You can see it's a three-way race. Neil looking dialed in as ever over the jump as they go. It's a backflip, and it's going to be not landed that well for any of the drivers. I would say a 2-point landing for Neil there, and the rest on, well, getting worse. Chongzilla right on the nose. Root, paper, scissors, flipping around as Neo Kabuki comes to the checkered flag here. Is he going to land within the bullards? Yes, he is. Is he going to take the line in time? He is. Takes the race win. Chongzilla behind here, coming home in second place with a lovely finish. Carson not going the correct direction, and Root, paper, scissors is going to go the incorrect direction as well. Goes deep into that with wet socks. The Provolone fan base getting out drag raced at the end by Carson as he takes the podium. Zane Blisket comes home in 5th. Karu is not crossed the line yet. He is stuck currently behind Zane Blisket and cannot cross the line, gets teleported, and Moriko next up here for rounding out our top 10. Nunamakers somehow not being able to finish here, as it is an absolute pile up at the checkered flag.
That was a brutal race, Mike. The stewards will not be happy with that one. Looked like Monza's. Oh no, that was not good. Somebody is very hurt.
Mel's struggling to get to the line now. These drivers not quite coping with the pile up at the end, but there we are. I think everyone has reached the checkered flag. Neil Kerbal takes the win. Chongzilla in 2nd, Carson Cass in 3rd. Wet Sox somehow getting 4th there. Unfortunately, the Provolone fan base going to be very disappointed, and everybody else behind them. Zane Blisket, Rally Dutchy, Rue Paper, me in 8th, Official Karu in 9th, and rounding out our top 10 is Moriko. That's Stream Racer, chat.
That is always hilarious, man. You murdered me like 4 times. You had a personal vendetta against me, Mike, just like usual.
You know, do you blame me?
No. No.
Let's head back to the booth.
Green light, go, go, go.
Oh, ignore the green light, go, 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 as we are in qualifying, but we'll be joining them relatively shortly.
Are we on? Okay.
No, we're not. No, we are not.
Yeah, so we've got, same track, different timing, I believe it is. We've got a same just about everything. I'm checking the format. I think it's still a 50-minute little experience.
45?
45, close enough. 5 minutes makes the difference. Sometimes, most of the time doesn't. But we've got a ton of drivers here in the GT4 Open. Qualifying just started, obviously. And, yeah. Make sure if you want to take part in the championship like the rookies like we just watched, or Stream Racer, and I guess you don't need to be in Discord for joining Stream Racer, but make sure you want to participate in any of these great championships, jump into the Discord, ! Discord in the chat, or also that'll lead you to ! SimGrid, where you can actually register for each individual series, as we've got plenty, as we've seen, 5 whole series for you to jump in, and 1 for you to watch, the Simmed AI one on Wednesday nights.
Yes, Syntho Drive with Josie Koo. And as we have it, the session is now ready to go, and we are going to pop down into it. There's black screen of anticipation, and there we are. Back out on the track. Vadik, welcome.
Quite the iconic GT4 Open livery. If you're a Swiftie, you love this one. The Professor Chronotus 42 car, always running the T-Swizzalicious machinery. That is certainly a car that is I remember was the first stream I ever tuned into. That was the one that definitely I noticed the most. But we've got that car's there. Many different.
Oh, this is a nice looking livery.
Yeah, I wonder who made it.
No, I wonder.
Jim Khalil with the double camo car, which I made, in fact. No dog on the roof. There's 2 different types of that with the dog on the roof, some without, but Tally Official. That is his Twitch channel as well. If you want to go check him out, open both streams and support him there. Very good driver. Has spent a lot of time practicing for these sessions, and really good guy to be around. So make sure you join the Discord to talk with somebody like Joe. He's always around and always fun to speak with.
Indeed. And Carson, why don't you take the qualifying for the next couple minutes here? So I'm just going to take a quick little break.
All right, folks, it's just me. We're going to be just where are we throwing the camera, Mike? Just on Joe. Give it. Give me on board on Joe. All right. So if Khalil is watching it chat right now, we are jumping on board with him for the time being. While Mike, who has control of the camera, departs on a long nomadic journey across the country so he can get back. But yeah. Joe Khalil into this first section here. The first times go down. It's Scott Sullivan, long-time Trackalicious driver, beaten out by even longer-time Trackalicious driver Ali Raza, who is returning from a hike up to Mount Everest base camp. The BMW driver beat out. Not enough time for him as he's beat out in his banker lap. On board with Khalil. He's approaching the line now, finally. First driver to have yet to set a time. Gross sets of time, Sullivan, Kronotis, all those drivers in there on their first last. Casey Shude. Another one in there is Reed, the KTM bandit out there this time. As Khalil heads to the line, 11th overall, he's going to be slowest. The 26 driver just graduated from GT4 Rookies, has been competing in GT4 Open since. As there is not, I believe, this year a separate license program, so everybody on the same race. It used to be AM and Pro-Am. But now we're all one race, all in this together, if you will. Joe Khalil doing a great job so far. Yet to make too many mistakes. The banker lap not too bad, but definitely has had faster pace in practice, as well as energy. You know, give him some energy to Potts out there. I don't know where he is on track. I think he might be an even number driver, as we mentioned. Same format qualifying-wise as rookies. You've got the first 10 minutes to odds, last 10 minutes to evens, and on your right side of your screen, you have Mike Noss. There's not much really going on, Mike, to be honest with you. Joe Khalil, second section of his lap. Wish you could see his car. Unfortunately, quite invisible. Pretty much there, just see the shadow and the noise of the car throughout that section there. But Camo, I believe, on pole right now. You've got the AMG dominating. It's a pretty German front row, but Mason Pierczalski going with the American theme races the Ford in the GT3 Challenge, is in the Chevy, third overall. Tons of different American cars out there now to choose from, a whole two. Mike, you're muted on Discord.
Sick. I'm back now. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Mark Haim up at the top now in the AMG. 151.5 is the time to beat, with Ali Raza in second here. Of course, the Razzle Dazzle in the BMW. A very interesting car choice here this time around in the M4, obviously, with Mason Pierczalski behind in the Camaro. The NASCAR Garage 56. Eagle screeches. All right.
Yeah, maybe the most American driver we have out there. Raced obviously the police Ford livery last night with the Garage 56 Camaro. Tonight, that is pretty funny, honestly. Mason Pierczalski, massive pace improvements from him in every series, it seems, so far, running way faster than they did last season in general, not in any given series. Third overall so far, as only the odds are out here, though, and really, that's the one part that we mentioned. It does kind of suck to go out first. You're a little bit slower in terms of track temp and time, and all your time does is really drop unless you set a really good one.
Yeah, and it's all going to be obviously about the conditions at the end of the day. Let's take a look here in terms of the track. We're going to be seeing an optimum track at 32 degrees, so it's going to be laying down quite a bit of rubber. So yeah, the later drivers are going to be getting quite the advantage. Now, of course, I was going to say weather can happen. In the rookies, weather can't happen. And in the open, I'm honestly not sure if weather can happen. But it looks like it's going to be a nice and sunny day here today.
Yeah, I believe at the 3:08 p.m. qualifying time, we will have a day race that will turn to evening. As Scott Sullivan, 11th overall in the 43 car, switching off of the Mercedes, jumping across the English Channel after he traveled to France onto the AMR Vantage. Aston Martin has done a pretty good job so far in terms of qualifying. Spent a lot of time learning this car on stream and off the 43 car. Same number will be, We'll have to take a look where he'll end up. But he's running the same livery, I believe, that Casey Shude ran in the GT3 Challenge last season, almost last semester. I am unfortunately a student.
Is this a base livery? I'm not sure. Is this a custom one? It's a very nice livery regardless, but...
I don't know. But I know I've seen it a bunch on the GT3 cars.
I don't think it's...
Casey Shude and Cody Blanton, I think, ran it, but it was a GT3 livery that they had, but I don't know if this is a base livery. I don't think it is.
No, it doesn't have any of the Pirelli stuff on the side. Yeah, it has to be custom, as Neil has pointed out in chat. So it is. It's a custom livery. It just looks really clean and perfect. It's just sort of has the base game livery look to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it is really nice, and I don't know who made it. I don't know if it's downloaded. I don't know if somebody in this community made it, but whoever made it, very, very good job. The red highlights are very pretty. The AMR on top, really the cherry of this very good livery Sunday we see. But yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you do see a lot about here is one thing that I personally love is just the amount of excellent liveries we have out there. And it's a community that can go jump in and make different stuff here. And definitely a lot of unique stuff. You don't see too many plaid designs on liveries, but Justin Beachley going for that himself on the front top of his car, the Beach GT machine. Is rocking a new livery this year.
Yeah, always bringing a new one to the table. I think Beachley, he's always on it and updating his livery. He's had a cat on his car before. He's had multiple different iterations of the Beach GT. And this time around, yeah, taking the kind of the green and plaid look to things. It's a very futuristic and past-looking car simultaneously. I'm not sure how he has achieved that, but he has.
Hick Sauber ran out there with a plaid livery. I think, hey, look, there's Justin Beachley. He's driving that car. I think that would be really interesting. I actually think maybe if 2,000 people all showed up to stake headquarters in, where is it? Switzerland, I think. I don't know.
Sure,
but
I'll take your word
either
for
way,
it.
I wouldn't. Either way, we should show up there and tell them to race a plaid livery. But as you can see on the left side, there's all the even number drivers coming out. The first, the familiar first, is Spady Budd jumping in right behind Justin Beachley, who just goes 7th overall.
Not bad so far for the number 18 AMG, and ahead of that is going to be Mr. Potts Weaver. Had the pleasure of hanging out with him in real life recently, so absolutely awesome to see him out on track in the Potts Auto Sport. I think the bank-inspired, is this the JB Wentworth livery up at the top? Or no, not quite. Just a little bit different of the, just different modification to the Potts machinery every time. Seems that everyone's brought in a slight variation to their livery. This time is the ethos. Life insurance is the human way. Okay, fair enough. Bringing a different insurance company alongside this time.
Yeah, and the Cookie Clicker livery. Is that his logo? Does he use the Cookie Clicker as the logo? But there is the Cookie Clicker cookie with his name on it in the bottom section there. I don't know how I spotted that or why I recognize that specifically, but pretty livery. You see a lot of different livery creators in this community, and honestly, if you'd ever like to go look at what people do, even whether it's here or out of here, the liveries channel in the Discord is an excellent place to check out. There's so many creative individuals in this community that I actually have no idea how their brains work. Like, I can talk really fast, and that's kind of it. I don't know how they use Photoshop or Blender or whatever they use as well as they use. It is some technical mastery in Potts Weaver with a very pretty car out there. Indeed.
Let's see, Spady Budd there with his warning lights on, or rather his four-ways on for some reason.
That's another one that just Spady does. I don't know why he does it. I think sometimes he clicks it, and then he never remembers to unclick it. But I believe Neil made this livery. Neil, correct me in chat. I think this is a livery made by our very own Neil Kerbal.
It's a very lovely livery, a nice cherry blossom look to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very pretty. And yeah, Dr. Porkchop saying that he wouldn't be here unless it was for Potts, and that's another part. Bring your friends into the community. That is one of the best parts of this community, is you can spend it with the people around you and meet more people. But I just had a thought about a Corvette. I wish the Corvette was in this game, man.
I'll admit, I mean, you know, like, I don't know. I was recently having a discussion with another commentator about the Z06 and iRacing and how it basically is just a Ferrari, but that's okay. You know, it's all right.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not a Ferrari, which is the cool part about it. You're basically driving a Ferrari, but you get to plaster a massive American flag on the side of it, and it makes a lot of sense instead of it not making as much sense.
Except for it's designed by a German named Ulrich von Urch. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I I mean, also every single Mustang in competition right now, all the GT3s are owned by a German company and run by German companies, and there's not a single American driver in it. So the only thing American about it is the name. It's pretty interesting.
Hey, the Germans got the efficiency down. Shout out to all the Germans out there. And shout out to Swakos for the follow as well. We got to hydrate from one bigly. Take a sip of water.
I'm out of water. I went downstairs and I got a piece of sourdough. I'm almost out of water. I got a piece of sourdough bread, but I did not get water, guys.
This is why you get a water bottle that you don't need to refill more than twice a day.
Thanks, Mike. I'll think about it. I won't. I won't think about it, guys.
Regardless, here's John Wad. We saw in the previous race, the rookie championship. He is struggling to set a lap out there, but now out for the odd plated numbers and will be out on his first lap. Marco Yatsunashi also taking to the reins here and will be, I think, crossing the line for the first time here and setting the first odd lap, maybe? Let's see. No, begins their lap now. Okay, they're just beginning their out laps.
Yes, you fill that thing up twice a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Mike drinks an astounding amount of water, and then I always make fun of him for it. Like, I don't drink the exact same amount of water in a day. Mike is big on that half-gallon water bottle thing. It's something he is frighteningly told me about. I think every single time I talk to Mike, there's a 50-50 chance he will mention it.
That is so not true, but okay.
That is true. That is true. You always mention, whenever I say anything about water, you're always like, you should get a bigger water bottle. No, Mike.
You should get a bigger water bottle, though.
I don't want a 45-pound device on my desk at all times that will fall on me.
Half gallon of water is like, what? A gallon of water is like, what, 6.7? No, that's gasoline. It's like 8 pounds or something like that is water. So it's only like 4 pounds plus the water, but like 5 pounds.
But then you're
doing curls too, you know?
Where are you going where you cannot fill up a quarter gallon of water bottle?
You can do some good curls too with it. So what's wrong with that?
I don't think 4 pounds.
Superset.
The superset. I'm not supersetting my water bottle, Mike. I have a race to commentate. Speaking of odd drivers, now finally coming out to the second drivers on field. Mike's armor ripped. True. Big Mike.
We're getting there.
What did Neil suggest to us? I feel like we should bring that to the public light. Neil made a really funny suggestion about that, but...
Oh, nah, we worry about that later. I think we'll figure that one out. We'll figure that one out. That one's still in the works. But yes, definitely news incoming at some point. But
big things coming, guys.
Stay tuned, folks.
Spady Bud, first one out. He'll be the first one to the line again of the second batch of laps going down. He will have no improvement. Staying behind there, someone else behind improvement. It's Jacob Church in the Camaro right there. That improves his rally Dutchie as well, bringing that to the line. Different car this time out. Has decided, no more Camaro. Jumping in the Porsche for the Open Series.
Fair enough. That seems like an interesting choice. Obviously, getting used to one machine and trying to practice for another is sometimes impossible, and I'd imagine that must be the case for Rally. We'll see. Yeah, you never know, though. 158.5, though, definitely not quite what they were placing in the previous races, so I think the Camaro might be a little bit more suited towards Rally style, but obviously still 3.5 minutes to go in quali, and anything can happen.
Yeah, wanted to highlight, as we jump on with John Watt here, his first ever league. There was no problem with the first car race. He just didn't really want to hit anybody else, which we really appreciate. Trying to keep it clean over personal glory. Wad doing a great job out there, and has been trekking through it with Joe Khalil, I believe, brought him into the section here. So congrats on your first league. Very glad it was Trackalicious, and we'll hope he can set down a time here. I don't know if he has already. I think I'm blocking it. Yeah, he has set down a time.
2:04.2 is the current time, and he's improving by about 1.5 seconds into the final sector. So potentially here is going to be a 2:02. We'll see. Maybe in the sub-twos as well. Just needs to keep it together in the final corner complex here. Is going to get it hooked up nicely on the exit now into the final corner. A little bit offline there. You can hug that inside apex. You can see where that line gets rubbered in. You can gain a little bit more speed by sending it in, taking a wide entry in and a quicker entry out. Slow in, fast out. That's the saying. That was a terrible way of saying it, but John Watt here is going to improve and up to a 2:02.0.
Yeah, that's the part about those kind of times is it's like you get massive improvements when you do certain things right, and definitely learning on the fly there, doing a great job of it. 2-second improvement as big as Ricky Racing PR on the podium. Thank you very much for the sub. That's 2 months, almost a year, as Spady Bud crosses the line once more, and we get the third batch of hot laps for these cars as they enter probably their second to last lap here.
Yeah, at this point now, any driver to cross the line will be on their penultimate lap. Sure.
Oh yeah, it's a 2-minute lap. Never mind, not 1 minute 30. Too many caution laps at Talladega. But Mulek Yaye, a longtime driver of this series, the 29 car, coming across in the Team Grilled Cheese Racing, which I will always never understand why it's purple and not brown. Either way, he's cooking it. 4th overall, the 29 jumps up all the way almost to the podium. Ali Raza finishing 3rd, almost past him. Swiss driver doing a great job.
Man, the grilled cheese sounds really good right now. I'm not gonna lie.
That piece of bread
we won't think
I
about
ate,
that.
Yeah, that piece of bread I ate made me just not want only a piece of bread.
I can imagine. I'm struggling here, obviously. As a comment, we've been at it for a little bit here in the commentary booth. Show us your love, chat. Hit that follow button. If this doesn't deserve a follow, I don't know what does. Obviously, we provide a lot of content here on Trackalicious. More than just the Monday Rookies and GT4 Open. We have the Sunday GT3. We have, you know what? I'm going to take a look at the calendar. Now's a great time. We have a GT4 Rookie Championship, GT4 Open, Street Stocks, and it sounds like, Carson, you want to take that away?
Yeah, we've got the Street Stocks on Tuesdays. I'll be participating in that. I'm not sure we have a stream for it. I don't think we will, but next day you can catch Syntho Drive AI. It's at 8:30 Eastern Time, followed by West Coast Racing at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. 2 streams, 1 night. Get excited. And the day after that, we jump into the iRacing format, Super Formula Lights. A lot of anticipation for those. I believe we have a pretty big grid for those, too. So check them out at Laguna Seca this Thursday on the 20th. And after that, we've also got Sundays, of course, on the Red Bull Ring we had yesterday. Kalami is the next track. Sundays at 7:30. Catch the GT3 Sunday Championship. And last but not least, we have the Road to SRO Community World Challenge that we are hosting here. I'm not quite sure of the format in all, but there's tons of communities hosting, and we've been selected. So make sure you jump in. June 29th, the Spa Frankerships. We have one about every single month, and they are very, very highly contested with esports drivers running those races.
Yeah, that is going to be a heck of a championship. Get a team together for that. And Advanced 03, yes, is the answer to that. There is certainly... No, anyone else use my problem? I thought that said, does anyone have an issue? I certainly have an issue with using mayo instead of butter on a grilled cheese. That sounds... Carson does it? Uh-oh.
I'll be... Okay. This is only when I'm out of butter. This is only when I'm out of butter. That is
such an American thing to do. I'll just be honest.
But I'm doing it. It's the same thing. Like, I don't know why I like it. I don't like it more than butter. But it is only when I am out of butter. And for some reason, in my house, we only buy 1 stick of butter at a time, which I will never, ever get over. We have just 1 stick of butter. Like, I might not get the value pack of 4. No, we have 1 stick of butter. And I'm often out of butter. So I've replaced it with mayo because I don't want a dry grilled cheese. It's like, I like putting mayo on sandwiches because I don't want my pastrami sandwich to be just like a desert. Like, I'm not eating a rock. I don't know. I get more texture out of it than anything. And I think it keeps that butter texture with a little bit of a wonky taste. But I totally understand that. I totally get that.
I'll be honest. I haven't tried. So, like, I can't fully... I believe that it does taste somewhat similar. But I don't know how much I could trust myself if I ate a sandwich. I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel right.
You're saying people eating mayo is untrustworthy? I feel like, I mean...
When it comes to a grilled cheese, I don't know, man. That seems like you're pushing the boundaries, but...
Hey, Dr. Porkchop just said mayo and peanut butter. I'm going to go ahead and neglect that he said that. That's scary.
Don't cake it on? I mean, I guess. 3 a.m. Le Mans commentary. It's so true, though. Anyone that watched Le Mans, you guys, especially during the yellow flag, that was some of the bottom of the barrel commentary, and it's just the best when you get there.
It's a good watch, especially with the sleep cam. But we've got a race to get into here. I believe we've got a pretty wide grid. I'm not sure if we have time to stall.
Oh yeah, we got a little time to stall. The song's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds, so we got a little time to stall.
You're right.
But we have,
Which restaurants use mayo? That's actually interesting. I guess
that might explain why I like my mom's grilled cheese more than I like restaurant grilled cheeses then. But then again, I feel like everyone likes their mom's grilled cheese. You know, like it's just, I feel like that's like the classic if you had that as a kid. That was my favorite food. So anyways, enough stalling. let's get on into the grid rundown as we have starting off in P1. It's Mark Kane, the number 4 AMG in the Racing Union AMG. Mason Pierchowski coming home in the Garage 56 Eagle Screech. And no, I'm not going to screech for the number 10 here of Mason. Ollie Raza coming home in third position, surprisingly. Definitely not. I think Ollie's just a little bit off the ball since he's came back from his hike on the Mount Everest and now down into P3. Vimolik Yaie fourth quickest with JP Reed behind in fifth in the KTM Celsius Autosports. John Hawley coming home in the Team Julianne Frozen Custard, number 410 Camaro. Heck of a mouthful on that one. Potts Weaver in the Potts Autosport McLaren with Justin Beachley company in P8 for the number 18. Casey Schutte in the 444 coming home in 9th position, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be Dylan Kaiser.
11th will be, and my ACC's broken. 11th will be handed off to Mike Noss once again. Jump back at me at 20.
11th on Professor Chronotis with Jason Provolone rounding out P12 here in row 6. And the It Ain't Easy being cheesy, though there's nothing cheesy about that livery. It's just purple and blue. Joseph Bammer, 13th quickest in the Beam Racing Aston Martin with Scott Sullivan company in P14. Jeff Franks in the Love Wins Racing once again coming home in 15th this time around with George Elmer company in P16. Reggie King, 17th fastest, Randy Gross in 18th, Joe Khalil 19th, and rounding out our top 20 is Joe Fallis.
Jacob Church will lead off the top 20. Mentioned the one Bigley machine there. Yatanashi 10th, looking to move up back to that 10th spot he had in rookies. The 22 or the 53 car in the 22nd spot with Spady Budd in that Galaxy livery starting 23rd of the Rally Dutchie. His teammate right behind him. John Wad will start that in 25th with Stefano Rinaldi, the Italian number 3 car behind in the last but not least row. Jaeger Caru toward the 20th. Number 20 Canadian followed by Alex Freeman in the AF Sport McLaren. That number 14 American will be the last car on the grid. We have no pit starts this time around, but we have got one heck of a race coming up for here. 45 minutes. And Mark Kane will lead us off here. I felt like I read that wrong, and I was like, what other name would be that?
You can see off on the right, there is going to be one mandatory pit stop. No pit starts, but one pit stop tonight, and that will be, I think, a fixed 25-second stop, unless I'm mistaken. I don't know. We might have changed things. But I'm pretty sure it'll be a fixed 25-second stop with 5 additional seconds if the drivers would like to take tires. But I will double-check that just to make sure.
Yeah, Mark Kane, I think a newcomer to Trackalicious, starting his Trackalicious career off with a bang. A pole sitter here. But he's got an American machine behind with Ollie Raza, who is well known for his race pace around here. Trying to reclaim his title here in the GT4 Open. I think he's taken 2 seasons off, or 1 season off. Either way, has not been here for too long. You know, summiting mountains will do that, and he's trying to get that hot seat back into him. There is Vimolik Yaie, the reason for our little bit of our off-track conversation there, starting 4th overall, like we mentioned. Team Grilled Cheese car has been very, very quick at certain points on certain tracks, but he's been a little prone to mistakes. We'll see if he's cleaned it up throughout here. This is one of his highest qualifying sessions I know so far.
Yeah, indeed. And also, it is going to be a 25-second fixed time. So when it comes to the stop times, we're looking at about 59 seconds total. So about a minute through the pit lane is what we're going to be expecting here for these drivers. And be plus or minus a couple seconds there. But will be one stop. Again, they are optional for tires. In a 45-minute race, I don't expect too many drivers to take tires. It'll be maybe a split strategy, but I think the drivers that elect to not take tires are going to be on a bit of a better call. It's currently 7 p.m. at night, so the track temp rocking at about 20. Not going to be seeing too much wear all in all, so it'll be, I think, a fairly calm race when it comes to the rubber.
I don't know what season it is in Hungary right now on track, but it might be fully dark by the time this race ends. I don't know. When the sun sets in ACC, it's kind of a weird thing. I realize is that if it was winter, it'd be already dark. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting that I guess time is all different here on the other side. But Mark Kane, you're going to have Mason Pierchowski rather, on his inside line. I'm interested to see. I believe this is one of his highest qualifying spots in the Open so far. New car for him. He started racing the Camaro last season. Jumped off the Porsche train after a very long time. Was in the Mercedes last season rather, and this is his first time in a Camaro.
And we'll see what he can do with it this time. Obviously driving the Mustang. I wonder how similar those are to drive. Chat, if you guys have any insight on that, let us know. Obviously it's GT4 versus GT3, but hey, still comparisons can be made. But as it stands, through the final corner we go, turn 14. Mark came on pole position alongside Mason Pierchowski. I'm Mike Dawson Booth. Joining me tonight is Carson Cass as we get ready here to go green for race 1 of the season start here, the Summer GT4 Open. Approach the line. And we will be going green, green, green. And immediately Mason Pierchowski is going to be up into the front with Mark Kame going to be swamped by Ali Raza. 3 wide now. Heading down to the first corner, it's going to be who is on the brakes the latest. And it looks like Ali might be taking that crown. Fully gets alongside as it's going to be Mark Kame fighting along with Vomolek Yaye sneaking in with Mason Pierchowski falling behind there. Mason getting a bit of a short end of the stick there. Ali Raza trying to send it now into the third corner. Gets it alongside, but no, Yaye is going to be finding the line, goes for the switchback of the dreams and takes the position, now fighting alongside onto the short straight. It's going to be a straight up drag race to the left-hander, and I think Yaye has secured this for the time being.
2x2 up the other side. The front 2 cars are up in the back grid, and the second row is now in the front. Vomolek Yaye into the first place spot there. They all get real compact to the other side. Pierchowski short into the stick, into the 3-way in that first turn, trying to reclaim it there. But now he's got 2 cars fighting behind him. The KTM, if you can believe that, of Reed fighting with Holly as they go down through this chicane. Vomolek getting a very, very helpful section here. He's got some time to move ahead through this section. John Hawley, new livery for him, very beautiful white and red car, tainted a little bit by a few damage bits that I think I see on that other back right end. He's made some contact here, but a relatively clean start for these guys as Casey Shude makes up 7th place. And Ali Raza still under pressure in the front from Mark Kane. Very, very close. These 3 cars, different braking zones like we mentioned, might make an effect here into these big turns.
Ali Raza got a little bit loose there on the exit, just kind of dipping a tire onto the curb. Very unnatural, I would say, for the M4, and that could be a potential weakness as Mark is going to be looking for. Obviously, he started up at the top, has dropped 2 positions since. Ali Raza obviously is no slouch, though, a driver that isn't familiar or isn't unfamiliar with leading any form of race or leading any form of championship for that matter. But Vomolek Yaye, a driver that I wouldn't expect up at the top, but clearly has found the pace in the practice throughout these previous few seasons.
Yeah, Mikey's got his work cut out for him. The winningest driver in Trackalicious history in his rearview mirror. Trying to go down that inside, takes a look. He's smart enough to know he doesn't have enough room. He's taking it to defend himself against Kane, who takes that outside line. He prefers the inside, but he'll end up alongside. Yeah, a bit deep, has a better exit, but Ali Raza going to gain some time on him. They'll be alongside into the second sector. He'll have need a better turn 2 here than he did in the first lap if he wants to stay alongside us. Kane goes deep. Pierchowski now feeding there, trying to get past that position as Ali Raza manages to defend Kane. It was a bit deep, and now those 3 cars will run away together.
Yeah, so far, I'm not sure they're going to be running away together. This is going to be an all-out war. Ali Raza has 40 minutes, and he isn't going to be, well, I think giving up for a second. You can see he looks to the inside of the right-hander there through turn, I think it is 5? Yes, through turn 5, as I just try to confirm the map. Again, very original corner names here. Now into the chicane. It is going to be nice and bumpy as that BMW fully mounts the curb and barely even notices it. The AMG a little bit more conservative of a line, and the Aston Martin as well. Ollie, I think you can see the confidence spewing out there, but unfortunately he gets loose again in the same spot. The BMW struggling in Sector 2.
I think he may have almost got a tap there. He came off that section. I assume he came flooring. That throttle went down on the grass, maybe lost it a little bit, and had it really mainly covered until that section there. Kane, though, still putting pressure on Ali Raza, getting a very good look at that back bumper of the BMW. Ali Raza blocked by the camera boards. I think went a little loose again. Kane still trying to capitalize. Can't find his way past the driver of Ali Raza, the Canadian, being chased by the American, with the Swiss driver up in front.
Yeah, Vomolek again, a name that I wouldn't see, again, I'm not used to seeing up at the top, but clearly he has found some pace throughout these pass. But here we see the drag race. Mark Kame gets loose, though, through the exit of the final corner, and that's going to pretty much be all of his momentum gone. Even with that slipstream, it's going to be a tough ask to make a lunge. He's going to think about it, but again, that's just a bit of a dream, not going to be a reality at this stage. Behind that, Casey Shude who is taking the number 6 in the GT3 championship, not quite here, looking for P6 at the moment, and battling with JP Reed.
That triple force car has been pressuring her, but up in front, Ali Raza alongside again. Seems like a similar case to last lap. Can't find his way around in a unfavorable section. Kane still putting pressure on that back bumper. Vomolik off on that right side. I'm very surprised to see how much pace he's gained. A rapid improvement for him there. But Ali Raza still has so much pressure on his back end. And don't forget about Mason Pierchowski, who's now closing in on these drivers with nobody he has to defend from behind. Kane goes deep into that left section there, picking up rubble on those tires. That number 4 car will have Pierchowski now challenging.
Oh, Mason Pierchowski's going to be licking his lips at this one. He needs to keep it calm, though. 40 minutes to go. And we all know Mason has a bit of a fiery head on his shoulders a lot of the time. So it's going to be about keeping it clean and keeping it on track, I think, for Mason, and really just driving his own race and worrying about nobody else. Uh-oh, Potts Weaver has found the barrier, it seems. Let's see if we can catch a replay of what happened here. I think this is the first bit of contact. Oh, no, I just cut it the worst possible time, it seems. I think everybody made it through, though, surprisingly, somehow. So that, oof.
Too much curb unsettled on the EU start, too much throttle following, and then you see this is Joff Franks following behind him. It looks like they all made it, and you see the Project 5 livery behind. That car is doing as well. They were in 16th. I don't know where they've gone. They're in 19th now, Robbie Gross.
And behind that, obviously, drive-through penalties, a couple of them being picked up early, but I feel like if we take an eye off of this battle for the lead, it is going to resolve relatively quick. Ollie seems to be absolutely wanting it here. He's hungry for the win. Didn't quite get it in the previous race, and last night's race, I should say, in the GT3s. He wants it, though, in the GT4 Open, but that is a slippery BMW. The back end stepping out there just for a moment and not allowing any form of run now down into turn 3. He's going to look for it anyways, but realize that he just has to stick behind on this lap and really look for it into the back sector.
Ali Raza knows he can get the pace thinks he can get the pace to get past Vomolik. He's a very confident driver, and he knows that. But with 38 minutes left, the last thing he wants to do is something extremely unsafe on a driver running the same pace as him while he's got another driver in his rearview mirror. Caught in a little bit of a sandwich here, not where he wants to be, but Vomolik with a little bit of an incomparable line is... Ali Raza looks up that middle side, but now he's got Kane. Took maybe a little bit of a worse line than Kane. As Kane on that back bumper has been all over Ali Raza's back bumper. I'm assuming there's been some bumps and bangs between these two German cars. Maybe a little bit of bump drafting there on the straights.
Certainly late on the brakes for the AMG, but thankfully it has a very long bonnet and a long crumple zone, so not noticing it too much. Ollie, though, losing it in that same corner again. Every single lap, it seems that he's putting a tire too deep or something is up with his setup there. I don't know if it's the TC0 that he's potentially running. In fact, why don't we check that really quick as we look. Is that TC number... Oh, man, it's so hard to tell. I don't know the BMW dash. TC off, okay.
Yeah, I would assume it's that. I'm curious to what those around him are running, but sometimes the simplicity and the complexity of not having to deal with TC and just being able to floor it out of most corners can be a bit of a better pace. I'm curious where Vomolik is at with that, but he has taken a massive lead because of that little section there. And I say massive, it's only about a second, but that's been the farthest between these two cars so far.
Yeah, especially Ali Raza's pace has been blistering so far and consistently quicker than Vomolik. He's fallen off this lap in particular after that little wiggle, but now really feeling the pressure from Mark Kame, and it seems that Mark is going to be finding an opportunity to the outside. It's going to be hard to make anything work here. He's going to try anyways. He's going to try to stick it alongside for the long way around, but it's going to be, again, you have to stick through it for quite a while and have a lot of momentum to make any sort of overtake happen in this sector, and that isn't going to happen. Ali Raza is never going to allow you to have that opportunity.
So you have to count on an Ali Raza mistake to get around in that section on that angle, and Raza, not known for it too much, has been a little bit prone to it as we saw in the GT3 series, but again, that is a driver who is coming off a full month break and is still putting blistering pace down through these sections and these races. He's P2 right now, folks, after a month of no practice.
Yeah, and continuing on here, this is where we're going to be seeing, I'm just going to pop on board with Ollie right now. I'm curious what is going on here through this middle sector. We've seen him pretty much mess up every lap. He's very conservative there on his line, and now I think he's learned his lesson. You can see how just shallow he is into these corner entries. He feels the curbs are a bit too much, but that's really compromising his run. Short shift there, down into third just briefly, but now hawking down the back is going to be Mark Kame. thinking about it into the turn 12, but no, he's just a bit too far back to really make any form of overtake stick. Trying it on the exit, but again, the outside line is very unfavorable here. Switchback attempt, though, but is again going to turn to the outside.
He's actually alongside, I think. Yeah, as Ali Raza makes a little contact with him there. I believe they made contact on the exit of that turn. As they make contact, I think, again, this car seems to be going a little bit straight. Kind of hard to do with the camera angle. Came a little bit deep, but he's going to be alongside that BMW. Has to go nip and tuck behind that blue car. I believe that's the delivery, by the way, Ali Raza is running of the... I don't remember other than Super GT was driving that there, but on the other side down, turn 1 into that thing. Mark Kane blisters past, maybe a little bit deep. Ali Raza on the switchback attempt. It goes very, very well for him. He'll be right alongside and passed almost instantaneously.
Yeah, a little bit too deep there. And whoo, into the back bumper again almost. Is very late onto the brakes. Mark is severely overdriving the AMG. That's Stefano Rinaldi getting out of the way as a back marker and not getting in the way of this lead fight whatsoever. I know we haven't had time to go off of this battle, but take a look here. JP Reed also pressuring others. Jeff Franks managed to get by there onto Alex Freeman. But again, this is the most volatile battle up at the front. Three-way fight for P1 at the moment. And Vimolik Yaye has been just dominating in terms of pace and leading this for, well, the whole race so far.
And not to rain on the parade at all, but Vimolik has had a history of making mistakes and being his own worst enemy. He's got the pace. I believe it. And I've seen it out there before in the previous seasons. He's just got to beat the other drivers out there, which he can do. He definitely can do. He's just got to make sure he doesn't make too many mistakes out there. And right now, that track record looking perfect through 10 minutes. Obviously, I don't want to commentator curse him, as we're both kind of known for that. It had a very rough last season in terms of that. I think there's 10 different isolated incidents which you could point to. But Ali Raza getting some space between him and Mark Kame right before the braking zone and be a little better. I'm curious as what's happening behind these boards, because we see both those cars. One of them goes deep, the other one goes a little less deep, but I don't know what's happening behind that board, Mike.
I couldn't tell you either. The cameraman is off his game today, that's for sure. But Mark is, I don't know, maybe overdriving at this point and going to be wearing a lot more into the tires. It's going to be interesting when the strategy comes around. We're 11 minutes in, still 33 to go. So within the next probably 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to be seeing our first pit stops happening, especially up at the front. And the undercut might actually work here tonight. We'll see. I think that Mark has the pace over Vimolik, which Vimolik is currently being the bottleneck for Ali. And now, obviously, Ali has fallen off the back every here and there, but mostly it's been Vimolik kind of dictating the pace of this race. Now, JP Reed is currently facing the wrong way, and cars are going to have to strew to the outside and avoid what has happened here to the KTM.
The Australian smart there. He backs out of it. Make sure it doesn't hit anybody else. JP Reed into turn 1 right behind. I can't remember who that is, but he's got an Aston Martin behind as well, as he just loses it, I think, independently. Yeah. Not sure there was contact with the Aston Martin either way. Stops before he drives directly in the path of Professor Carnotus. Luckily, very smart driver knows how to rejoin very properly, which he's seen a little bit of struggles with, but pretty good so far tonight.
Man, Mark is really feeling it. You can see every single corner, he's trying to find any form of move he can, really putting the pressure on Ali. But I don't think Ali is one to necessarily falter to people looking in his mirrors and saying, oh, I'm going to be coming down the inside. Ali's going to say, well, then do it. Come down my inside. I'll fight you anyways. And I think that's just, again, a testament to show just the experience level, as Carson pointed out, the winningest driver in all of Trackalicious. And yeah, he's going to be trying to prove that here. As down the inside goes Mark Kame. He's going to be blocked by the board. We'll switch cameras, but he is certainly doing his best Sum 41 impression and is in too deep.
Yeah, I don't know if there was contact between the two drivers there. Ali Raza went a little bit too deep, but I don't know if there was a push there from the Mercedes. Went very, very wide to the point where I don't even think it was, just based on his angle. But maybe we jump on Helicam?
No,
we
contact.
have
No contact. That was just Ali making a bit of a mistake, and Mark Kame saw and now has conquered up into P2.
And that's not good news for Vimolik, because that bottleneck, he's been slower, I believe, in most sessions, as he was qualified 4th. There's a reason he qualified 4th, because Mark Kame has been on a very, very high pace setup here. Is now we're going to see that battle for the lead, I think, come very, very soon. Mark Kame very, very quick. Vimolik, I don't know if he's got the pace to beat this Mercedes behind, but we'll have to see if that first lap really does win the race for him here.
It's going to be a real mental game for Vomolek as well, as he's going to be facing what we've already seen is a very aggressive Mark in the Racing Union. He's going to be looking left and right, and it's going to be just on Vomolek trying to keep a calm head and not make any mistake for the next 31 minutes, which is certainly easier said than done. Now, obviously, Mark, he's going to have to keep it clean as well, but it's so much easier to follow than it is to lead.
Yeah, and one advantage that Mark has is we're about to see. Depending on the setups, Mark should just drive right over this curb, as all three cars do. The Aston way more unsettled, as you can see, much more rattling than the Team Grilled Cheese car, though. And Mark Kane, like we mentioned, is already on that back bumper. Two purple cars in your front row. If you had that on your Trackalicious bingo card, you can check that off.
Not sure how many people did, but yeah, that's we should start doing Trackalicious bingo cards. It's not a bad idea. Still, though, here is Mark. He's going to be trying to set it up into Sector 3. This is where we've seen him best, as obviously he made this overtake here last time around, and again, not able to see anything corner-wise as I try to frantically switch cameras before we get there. Ollie, though, coming back now.
Yeah, he's a little bit closer to Mark Kim's bumper as he jumps right into the pits. That's something like Mark likes it. I'm going to say why I like it, too. You don't get bothered by the car in front of you. Take that pit early. You're 30 minutes in, and now it's just up to your pace, and you can come out with the undercut. And Mike knows a little bit more about it than me.
Yeah, Ollie basically saying, I want to waste no time with this. He is gambling, though, in that he better come out in clean air, because if he comes out behind somebody that's slower than Mark and Vomolek, and Mark there having a bit of an issue himself, which that is potentially going to cost the position right away. That mistake alone might have handed the position back to Ollie Raza, considering how little was between them. So I think Ollie here going for an excellent strategy call. Definitely, I don't think is taking tires at this point. That would be... I'd be very surprised if he did. We'll be seeing soon enough, but just a bit of a splash and dash, I'd imagine, come back out on track, hope for a clean air bubble, and, well, just set the best lap you possibly can and try to come out in the lead here ahead of Vomolek.
Yeah, Rally Dutchy, I think, was involved and came having that little bit of overtake there. He just came out at the very, very wrong time, as I believe that'll be Raza with no tires. A very quick pit stop there, but just came out at the very, very wrong time into that hairpin, and Cam had to react to that and went very, very deep.
Here's Scott Sullivan trying to battle with Professor Carnotus. Bit of Trackalicious staff-on-staff action here. Into the back chicane we go. And it's going to be Chrono a little bit deep there, getting unsettled. And again, that Aston getting a good exit now into Sector 3, but there's so little opportunity for overtake. Now, again, one of your best overtakes on this track is going to be into Turn 12. But still, it's going to be one of those that you have to be so confident, have so much speed on, and now just trying to set it up on the exit, and Scott, I can already tell you, is not going to be close enough.
He was going to be very close, though, where he can set it up into T1 if he gets a good exit out of the next turner, and you are a little bit wrong. He makes enough alongside to get Professor Cornotus to acknowledge that he is there, take a wider line, and Sullivan, not going to get the overtake, but he's going to let that Taylor Swift-themed Mercedes know that he is right there. I tried to think of a Taylor Swift song, but then I realized I don't know a Taylor Swift song.
Now, Vomolek Yaie is into pit lane. I don't think Vomolek wanted to pit this lap, but he was forced to pit this lap in order to respond to Ollie Raza. Now, Ollie Raza, where has he come out? He's come out in P21 in a clean air bubble, and this is his dream scenario right now, so it's going to be very interesting. Mark there with a brief yellow flag. I think he just got caught up in a back marker. This is going to be, I think Mark has certainly lost this position. Mason Pierchalski 3.5 seconds behind and gaining now onto Mark Kame. Mark's race is sort of falling apart at this point.
Yeah, that's really rough. You really cannot be making those mistakes with those two drivers behind you now who have taken the undercut. You need to have the best laps you can under this clean air. Yes, that's actually my favorite Taylor Swift song is the one featuring Kendrick Lamar. That's the only one I know, actually, and I think about it. But Ollie Raza coming out in 21st. Curious where Vomolek will end up, as he will come out right in the same section. They should come out alongside almost. Yeah, Vomolek coming out just in front of Ollie Raza. That is a good response, but those tires are going to be cold, especially in a GT4 car. That means even more. Ollie Raza is going to need to have a good lap here. He's got to beat Vomolek in the outlap.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ollie Raza there, you could see the exuberance into the first corner, and he somewhat loses it. He went for it. It was a good strategy call. I think he's guaranteed himself the position over Mark at this point without any issue, and there you can see just overdriving at this point and trying to catch Vmolek as hard as he possibly can, and it's not quite working. A flash of the headlights there from Vmolek, trying to let the back marker know that I am going to be coming alongside. That's Spady Bud, and he is sort of in a battle of his own right now as he chases down the car in front. Actually, 13 seconds. That's a back marker ahead there of Stefano Rinaldi. My apologies, and that's not quite what Vmolek had in mind. He was trying to communicate to Spady saying, I'm coming alongside, but no, Spady didn't oblige, and that allows Ollie a potential fighting chance here as he finds his window. That's going to be Joe Khalil. I think, no, that's Stefano Rinaldi. Apologies, that's off. And next up here is going to be Spady Bud, who's being a bit of a thorn in the side to these front markers, and I'm not going to be surprised if he receives some form of penalty here.
Yeah, that's rough. He tries his best to give him the very brief straight to overtake, but he doesn't do that well, as Vmolek did get hung up there by Spady, but honestly, I think it hurt Ali Raza more, as he did try, and it did not go too well, letting him by. A little too good at defense so far for Spady tonight. And the 21 car, I definitely think if either one of these book it, will be on some sort of penalty, unfortunately. Randy Gross, though, another one of liveries that I've been very, very excited to talk about. I wanted to do a livery deep dive. I'll pay for it tonight. Look at this car. It looks professionally done, and Randy Gross made it himself. Obviously, it is so well done. He's known that Project 5 car always has amazing liveries, and this is no different. That Camaro looks beautiful out there tonight. The royal blue and the gold is great. The Apex Advisory sponsor there, Project 5, of course, the main team name. But I mean, oh my goodness, this looks like you'd see it out on track, is what they were saying in the livery Discord channel, and had to make sure that got featured on stream tonight.
No, an absolute stunner of a livery, and now he's trying to chase down George Elmer ahead, but not quite having too much luck. But further up in P4 at the moment, the 444 trying to battle with John Hawley, the 410 Camaro versus the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin rubbing a hole in the back bumper there of the carbon fiber of the Camaro. Not quite finding anything, though, just yet. And into pit lane goes John Hawley. Casey Schutte continues on for another lap.
Yeah, that'll be good for Schutte. He's got some clean air ahead of him. And now that I'm realizing Ali Raza's strategy did not go really particularly to plan, I think he was almost immediately in traffic after, we jumped off of him there. And the Black Falcon Team Blitzen car, not what you really wanted to see from him tonight. Or if you're him in the car, that is a very rough section, and did not come out with that undercut on top, as Vmolek had to reply to it, and he did very, very well in this argument. I think we'll continue till this race is over, Mike.
I mean, I don't know. Not sure there's much of an argument, but yeah. It was a good strategy call by Ollie all around. I mean, he's going to gain the position over Mark Kame, I think pretty much guaranteed at this point. Mark is going to have to pit soon. He's only losing time at this point. I say that, and he set the fastest last lap, but it's still not much quicker than we're currently seeing from these drivers ahead. So it's going to be a fighting chance for Mark, but I think after that small yellow flag in the back marker incident as well, I think guaranteed he will be falling down into potentially even P4. I'm not sure. As Mason Pierchowski, only 3.5 seconds behind, actually is going to be 5.5 seconds behind now. Maybe not quite the greatest stop there for Mason. No, actually, an all right stop. 30 seconds through pit lane, definitely a little bit longer than he would have liked.
Yeah, I said cold tires earlier. I just realized that Vmolek did not take tires. I feel like I should clear that up. Both these drivers are on the same tires from the race start. Nobody, I think, took tires based on looking at timings. A few.
Scott Sullivan took tires. Daniel Kaiser took tires with a repair, it seems. Reggie King tires. But in terms of, I mean, you're still correct about the cold tires, because when you come into pit lane, you have to be stationary. Your tires are going to cool down, so you are still correct.
But it's not new tires where you're 8 PSI off. Joe Khalil, though, chasing the back bumper of Spady. This is for position, but neither of them have made their stop yet. Joe Khalil rocking my livery, and Spady rocking Neil's, so different fans in chat for different reasons. See that North Face logo on the side. Khalil trying to get some cold overtakes here. His tires are maybe a little bit cooked there. That was a very back end, kind of slid out through that section there. Maybe just a different line than Spady. I don't know if he's got quite the setup to take the curbs potentially. I don't know what's going on with that, but Khalil still chasing Spady.
Yeah, and obviously Khalil trying to recover from that drive-through penalty that he picked up earlier on in the race. I think it was for a start place infringement. He's currently dropped, or actually he's gained 5 positions somehow. I have no idea how he's managed that. Oh, he still doesn't have pit yet, that's why.
Yeah.
But has 1 stop to his name because he did come in for a drive-through, of course.
Based on timings, he should come out in the 20s at some point. I don't know where in the 20s, but the 20s. But yeah, he's racing Spady Bun for position right now. If I was him, I would jump right into the pits so I could come out where I actually will be ending up placing and have more chance of that. But we're going to jump back up to the front. These drivers still have some drivers in front that haven't pitted. Ali Raza still in the back bumper as he goes right on the inside. But Molik, oh no, Ali Raza way deep. Some 41 impression in too deep. You like to mention a lot, Ali Raza, that is not what you wanted to see from him, and that right there I think should cost him the race if Vomolek doesn't make another mistake.
Very well could, but now this is going to be Vomolek's complacency arc. He needs to be dialed in at all times and realize he's got nobody behind him right now and just pull ahead. Jäger Karu ahead here of Ali Raza as they look for any form of daylight right now, and I think Jäger is going to be a pretty decent back marker and get out of the way relatively soon as we come around this right-hander. And yes, indeed, great job there from Jäger Karu, and allows Ollie through without incident. But now 2 seconds is the gap, and Ollie Raza's got some time to make up.
That's rough for that BMW there. We jump back into the battle for 12th-ish. Neither of them have pit yet. Joe Khalil now has a driver behind with Spady Bud that he has pit. That's Hawley. Justin Hawley, who's now looking on that inside line. Khalil needs to make sure he doesn't impede Hawley too much there on that other section, because Spady Bud is getting a little bit of a train with this section now. Khalil needs to get behind. He's flashing at Spady, letting him know he needs to get through. But honestly, Spady doesn't have to. Let's go to the other side. Is that's John Wedd, who goes down to the other side. That back marker there off track.
Oh my goodness, John Hawley getting the hammer down and trying to go around the outside of Joe Khalil. It's going to have to be the long way around now for the upcoming corner. Into 12 they go, Spady Bud ahead, and it's going to be onto the grass for Joe Khalil. The cameraman, of course, cutting at the worst possible time, but the exit there for John Hawley. He does stay ahead. Now Justin Beachley gets by Joe Khalil, caught him sleeping. And a great question in chat from Lil Chris. First off, thank you very much for the follow, Chris. And how do you get involved in this? There's Joe Khalil into pit lane. Head over to our link in chat there, SimGrid. You can join the Discord as well from that link, where you can register for any of our events. We offer plenty of events on iRacing and ACC. This is the GT4 Open Championship. We also have Rookies that was earlier on. We have our GT3 main event, as well as West Coast Wednesday. I think that's what we're doing for ACC right now, and then a couple iRacing leagues, and of course the Road to the SRO coming up as well if you have a team for that.
Absolutely, Road to SRO is going to be a very big event, so make sure you get your teams together as soon as possible and start practicing immediately. One man who benefited off that traffic jam there was Justin Beachley, who moved up into the back bumper of Holly, but we're jumping on with Vomolek, who seemed to keep that pace all right. He's not full 2 seconds ahead of Raza still, but time is waning on that other section there as he's caught behind that KTM. That is not where he wants to be. Ali Raza gaining some time because of that.
Yeah, I think Ali Raza just gained a whole second as Joe Fias did not let him go. Now, obviously, Joe is still on the lead lap in his 4 position. He hasn't pit yet, though, and I'm sure he recognized that in the KTM. Does let him by without too much incident, but now Ali Raza has reeled him in just slightly.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to do a Forza League. I don't know if that game is going to be alive in 2 to 3 months. To be honest with you, that game is a very rough situation right now. Ali Raza, though, chasing the back of that KTM. You don't hear that too often. Trying to get past him to the other section there. He's a little bit faster. I'm sure he'll realize as, yes, that KTM goes to the outside. That's Falias. My ACC doesn't work, so I can't get the
Ali loses it, though. Again, these are just Joe Fias being a bit of a thorn in the side for some of these drivers. Ali Raza getting caught out as well. So I guess, well, all that time that he gained Vomolek has now been lost. And Joe is left to go. Justin Beachley just got by Spady Bud, but Spady Bud is coming into pit lane, it seems, and making his 1 mandatory stop here for the night. And then I think as well, Joseph Bammert side by side here with Jason Provolone, the Stinky Cheese Man on the outside. But it looks like, again, Joseph Bammert getting an incredible exit onto the start-finish straight. Now, is Jason Provolone going to have any form of grunt to catch up? No, it seems like not. That was an incredible exit for the Aston Martin.
Absolutely. You don't see that too often with the American machine behind, known for its straight line speed, but not here apparently. You can't hear me, correct, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, my Discord just had a absolute attack out there. It is technical issues for me tonight, non-stop. I have the cursed PC, apparently, just in general. Provolone off his pits. Now George Elmer coming out right with Freeman, I think, is there. As we see a lot of different drivers he'll come out right in front of Freeman, who is in position there. We see a lot of different drivers running a lot of different Liveries out there tonight. See the Jägermeister, specifically for Elmer, as he gets around the back marker. They're pretty historic in the history of BMW. One of their first ever Nürburgring 24-hour liveries.
Yeah, an absolute brilliant one. One of the more, it's kind of a, not exotic. I don't even know what to call it. It's just a very
Vibrant.
solid livery. All vibrant. There you go. I think that's a great way of putting it.
I'm very partial to orange for some obvious reasons, if you know me. But George Elmer has done a pretty good job. Solid and stuck to the ground like glue. No big incidents for him tonight. That 22 car, pretty good in 16th. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a case and gets all the way up to Reggie King ahead of him.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
That is No, that's Dylan Kaiser. No, that's a back marker. That's
Wad.
I think Provolone got involved here, though. Let's take a look. Is Provolone trying to find his way by, trying to communicate. Joe Wad kind of. Certainly a miscommunication is how I would describe that. No further comment.
Well, honestly, it just looked like Provolone came out of the corner and Wad didn't come out as much as Provolone thought he was going to.
I
Didn't see maybe on that inside. I don't know fully. Couldn't really see. I'm on a much smaller monitor. Wad finally pulling away. Safe rejoin for him, but Justin Beachley here in the 9th spot. Caught up to Justin Hawley, but is maybe not the pace as that Camaro in front. Now a full second between these two cars. The Beach GT car looking a little bit on a plateau of pace right now. Needs to find a little bit more if he wants to contest with that Hawley car in front, who I also kind of want to take a livery look on if you don't mind, Mike.
Might as well. We got a little time.
Checking out that says it's Julie Ann's, which I assume is a frozen custard business somewhere. John Hawley does, I'm pretty sure he does a lot of local stuff, so Julie Ann's maybe is a national chain I don't know about, or is a...
it's probably, if I know John Hawley, he typically does liveries that are related to his kids or his wife or his friends, basically in suggestions, so I'm sure somebody suggested this is one of the chains in their area, and he just did it because somebody told him. That's my assumption, because that's just how John Hawley goes. But I absolutely love it. His selection of liveries, which again, how he gets to his selection is interesting, but his selection is amazing nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very pretty livery. Another 10 out of 10 for Hawley, who's doesn't miss too often with the sections. I'm in, and they offer curbside pickup. Sim racing drivers always on the move, keeping it quick. Neil, always watching a lot of streams. Neil's one of the biggest supporters I've ever met. Just a quick shout out to Neil. Just a supporter in general, man.
I mean, not just a supporter as well. He's obviously one of the very, very well-renowned Trackalicious community members in terms of staff, hosting multiple leagues, and overall just a great guy. So,
if you like Neil, make sure you join the Wednesday West Coast League. Always like to see more numbers in that later league, even if you're not on the West Coast. I'm commentating it. It starts at 10 for me and ends at midnight, but can't get away from the good racing that series offers. 2020 like rookies, but with qualifying in the middle, definitely a fun thing to do. And a lot of different series. Make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you jump into the sim grid. There's something for everybody, including oval racing tomorrow. As Dylan Kaiser right around Justin Provolone pretty easy. Provolone isn't some positions on the other side. He looks like he got back at that AMR at some point, and they've been dueling for a few laps here.
Yeah, I think Provolone might have picked up some damage after that contact. Seems like his pace has fallen off. You can see they're deep through the turn 3. Dylan Kaiser also with good pace. Last lap was 2-second difference between the two, so I expect Dylan to pull away. How is Wenzel doing? Excuse me. Wenzel, let's take a look. Where is Mike? Was he not? Did he not sign up for the Open? I feel like Mike was only in the GT4 rookies.
Yeah, I also think he was only in the rookies. I think Wenzel. I feel like Wenzel had a timing thing. I feel like he mentioned that he is signed up for Open. I will check after this race, but either way,
great question as well from Gambling Addict is: does anyone use a controller? Currently, I don't know of any that use a controller. Does Spady Bud use a controller? No, I don't think he does. I feel like someone in that community does. But one of
does or did.
Maybe did.
I know.
Yeah. I know Jace Wright, obviously, he did at one point and has since switched over to Wheel. But there were some very talented controller drivers that drove in our league. But since I can't think of any, Stefano Rinaldi, I think, has a Wheel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, I think there's a couple in here that do.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it before, and I think Eric was bugging somebody for like an entire month in this chat about how he should join, but he had a controller. So it's honestly a little bit rough because controller, you don't have the turning angle as much all the time. It is much difficult to learn, honestly, because you have to be a little bit more precise. But, you know, shout out to the controller players out there. There is ACC console leagues. We are not one of them, obviously, on PC, but yeah, we do support controller. It's definitely allowed.
Yeah, and it's honestly not a bad choice either. If you're looking to get into sim racing and maybe just want to try it out, it's definitely the best way to do it, because you'll still get the feel for the cars, you still get the rotation, you still get all that. You just don't have the simulation of driving it with a wheel and key or with a wheel and pedal. That's about it. So no, it's definitely something if you're looking to get into, I'd highly recommend, as it's kind of the breaks that entry door, and then you'll be like, oh well, now I need to get a wheel and key or wheel and pedals, and then you get a wheel and pedals, and you're like, well, now I need to upgrade my wheel and pedals, and then you have a $10,000 setup, and your wife is questioning and leaving. You know, okay, maybe not that far, but you get the point.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to get entry. And speaking of entry, like I mentioned, Elmer catching up here. He's got that position back from a driver pitting. He's in 15th, all over the back end of Reggie King. Fellow German manufacturers here. Not great for overtaking in the spot, but George Elmer going to make it a case here in that section. Let's clip it. I'm not sure. Are we clipping it to send to people? Like it's a little targeted on the other end. George Elmer, though, the double two car rather, still putting pressure on that big Porsche in front. As honestly, I should not be surprised if he gets through in this section here. George Elmer, Reggie King into this last turn, as Elmer made it a lot more compelling on the camera angle.
And yes, Neil Kabuki, get into sim racing, start sleeping on the couch. I think Neil probably knows that one all too well. Regardless,
don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Love the Bic livery. It is absolutely fire, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe the pun was slightly intended.
Yeah, it was intended. Yeah, we've got fire and flammable behind. So a bit of an interesting battle on this section. But yeah, I mean, we see, again, I will say it 45 million times. I will say it every stream. The liveries here, unmatched. You don't get liveries like this in any other community. We've got artists on track, I will say.
Artists both in the simulator and in Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator.
And artists in pace and beautiful, beautiful overtakes. We get a lot of fine art here. All art is subjective, and I think this counts as a form, to be honest with you. But Rally Dutchy here, chasing Joff Franks, has closed that gap, it seems a little bit. It was about 2 seconds earlier. And Franks competing with drivers now that he was in the Rookie Series. And they've got a lot of battling tonight. That section, Dutchy all over that back bumper.
You know what I just realized? Mark Kame is still in the lead. How the heck? Well, he's not currently in the lead. Professor Kenotis is currently in the lead, but pay no mind to that. He still has to pit. How the heck has he managed an 8-second gap to Vomolek when the pit times were literally identical? I guess clearly Mark has been putting in the pace. I missed that. That was completely my bad. Absolutely smashing it.
Oh. Okay, so Mark Kame has... I guess he's just built different. I don't really know what to say other than that. Mark Kame, that 4 car is one for the ages. I'll say that was a very contested first few laps, first 15 minutes, and as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he doesn't have too many back markers coming up for the next 7 minutes. That's incredible. I don't
even if he does make a mistake, like honestly, I don't know how he pulled an 8-second gap over Vomolek, considering, maybe the battling between Ali and Vomolek just kind of costed each other the time, but Mark capitalizing on the strategy as well as just the pace alone. All in all, it seems to be an absolute masterclass for him tonight, and well, I think he's going to be seeing that checkered flag first. Now here we have a battle between George Elmer and Reggie King as the Jägermeister looks to the inside but doesn't find it just yet. The Porsche forced to go defensive here and covering the inside line for the next corner. And I don't think we're going to be seeing it happen just yet, but you never know, as it is going to be, yes, backed out here. And the Jägermeister tries the outside line, which is going to turn to the in if he can stick alongside long enough. But no, you can see as the corner falls off and the camber drops there, it is going to be the advantage to the inside line.
Interestingly, you will have a better exit, get some toe from the Porsche, tries to move alongside. He is into that quick left-hander here. That's a disadvantage line Elmer's taking, but he could get that switchback opportunity, but the line is still unfavorable for the double 2 car. Cannot find his way past that George Elmer car. Stuck like glue, unfortunately. Namesake, obviously not the same. I don't think George Elmer was named after, or I don't think George Elmer is related to the glue company, but you know, he's made some of these overtakes stick like it, and he's going to be alongside that Porsche, backing out again, not wanting too much to deal with in this difficult sector, and knows not to get into that contact there.
That one took me a couple seconds to get, but I got it at the end of the day.
It's like Mecha Godzilla for me.
Well, you know, that was a good reference, though. You just didn't, you're just too young.
I knew what it was, I just didn't, like, I didn't think, either way. Sullivan putting pressure on a Beach GT. He's caught up to both these drivers. Holly trying to get on that right side, but shouldn't come this lap. Maybe might take a look, but not too much room for him there. Unless Beach GT is going to give it to him, he will. Holly, and now we're going to have a new threat behind him. Sullivan gets right past him. GT goes a little bit deep. Is Beachley...
Beachley have the inside line for the next corner here, so he's going to be having the advantage. It's going to have to be a long way around for Scott Sullivan as he tries to force the issue, but no, again, the corner falls off, and so does Scott Sullivan. He tries to find the inside, but that is such a dangerous move and so easy to understeer into the car ahead of you. It's not going to be happening just yet, but the pace for Scott Sullivan last lap, a 153.9 to the 154.0, a 10th difference, but that could make it all, to be honest, and we'll see, as well as George Elmer now side by side with Reggie King as they go along the back sectors here, and again, first sectors. Ooh. And this is how you make an overtake happen into turn 3. Stick alongside for the full of it and send it into the 4th corner, and that is not easy to do, but George Elmer, well, he makes it stick like glue. See, I didn't steal that one, did I?
Yeah, Reggie King does a really good job defending there, but unfortunately Elmer's pace is just a little too much, and his castle of 13th is defeated. He'll drop down to 14th, and you know, Reggie King, honestly, not too bad of a hold from him. 4 whole laps guarding Elmer, as Elmer now really has no chance now to catch up to Provolone, despite that pace being in the end his school supply commentary. Yeah, we do a lot of different talents here, and school supply commentary, if you'd like to hire our services, is one thing we provide.
It's true. It's Elmer and Bick battling it out. We didn't even think about that one. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
3-way fight, though, for P7. This is going to be Justin Beachley, Scott Sullivan, and John Hawley leading the 3 of them as they go down the start-finish straight. Scott Sullivan in the slipstream, pulls out now to the inside, is going to be trying to send it along, and Justin Beachley, we've seen this before. He's going to have the inside line for the next coming corner. It looks like he's at the disadvantage here, but he is going to be able to hold this position again. Now, obviously, we've seen you can hold it along the outside, and Scott Sullivan is fully ahead right now, but it's still going to be a tough one. You need to get that car slowed down in time. And there you can see Scott Sullivan doesn't do it, and Justin Beachley holds the position for now.
Yeah, very good section there for Sullivan, but he needs a little bit more pace, needs to find a place to get a little bit faster maybe on that back bumper, but it's kind of difficult. The only real place you can go is to the back section. But speaking of which, on that podium spot, the last 2 podium spots, still under a little bit of debate. Ali Raza seems to have caught up to the Team Grilled Cheese car.
Going to be applying the pressure once again. We've seen Vomolek had a quite sizable gap, 2.5 seconds. Now is 11 seconds up to the leader, by the way. Mark has absolutely found the pace at the end of this race and didn't take tires during a stop either, so it's just going to be down to pure talent alone. But now in a fight with Ali Raza, it is going to be Vomolek trying to see what he can get done, and if he can hold that P2, which would be a lovely start to the season here for the Swiss driver.
Yeah, having a higher position than Ali Raza would be great for your championship efforts, because I don't know if Ali Raza is going to be out of victory lane for long. I think it's kind of keeping a dog away from its bone there. Ali Raza has been absolutely excellent, and I think he's just warming up back into racing. And I think it's not going to be long before we see him in victory lane, as accustomed as we are to it once again. But Ali Raza, oh, that's Potts Weaver off that right side of that bright orange McLaren. Seems to have come into some issue as Ali Raza chases Vomolek.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. Potts dropping it in the first corner, or rather on the exit of it. Now Ali Raza continuing on here, and he's just trying to find any weaknesses, really. And he knows he's been racing with Vomolek for a while, so can find where the where he is weak. I know that we know that Ali Raz is weak in Sector 2 into Sector 3. Is this ACC or Continent? This is ACC, so Seto Corsa Competizione.
Yeah, and we do have other leagues, but honestly, ACC, I think, is a severely underrated game. And speaking of which, I thought Ali Raz was about to go around here into that sector here. And you see that difference in bump there as they... Ooh, speaking of bump, Ali Raz into the back end of Vomolek very, very slightly. I had to dodge away to get out of that, but you see that difference there in the chicane. They have to take it a completely different way just based on the car. The BMW ate it. The Aston Martin had to dip, dodge around it. Ali Raza all over the back bumper of Vomolek. With this pace, with a minute left, it could be very, very dangerous. Vomolek needs to keep it straight for his, probably think his best finish in a very long time or ever for this series. The GT4 Open has been quite different with drivers on top of it. We see drivers dropping out and coming back in, but this is one of the highest contested we've seen it in a very long time, I feel.
Yeah, and this is going to be the final lap here we're coming on to now. So our leader, Mark, crossing the line, and this is going to be make or break for Ali. This will be his best opportunity now down into the first corner. You can see he's a half second back, but trying to get a better exit. I don't think he's going to be close enough. He will have the slipstream, and it will be a long ask, though, I think, and you can see the gap is going to close. He looks to the inside, which is surprising. I feel like he should just stay in that slipstream, gain up, and maybe try into the third corner. Who do I specifically talk to that can lead me into doing this? That's a great question, Chris. If you head on over to the Discord, I'd recommend talking with Eric Gakasian. He's going to be the one that runs everything, but also any driver in the Discord, really, or anyone that's just hanging out is going to be happy to talk to you about it. So if you head on over, join the Discord, that will be the best place where you can find any contact there, or just messaging in general as well. And there, Ali Raza getting very unsettled.
Yeah, a little bit of a rally suspension here, though. That BMW is making a very big case on that right side. Goes a little bit alongside into the inside. Maybe some contact, maybe held off. As Ali Raza, I think, may have accidentally given Vomolek a bit of a boost there. As Anton Wass, quick welcome to him. Some great racing from him last night. Want to point that out as Ali Raza into deep. That car slides out to the left side. I think just like that. That second place dream is gone, but he gets so much time in the chicane. That BMW eats those curves for breakfast and hoping to eat the grilled cheese team next. This is Vomolek all over his back bumper is Raza.
Vomolek is pushing, but Ali Raza is pushing even harder right now. But I got to say, I like the car body language more of Vomolek. But as it stands, we'll tune back in that here. We have our race leader, Mark Kame, Veni Vidi Vici. Mark Kame, Mark saw, and Mark conquered tonight to get the debut win here in the Trackalicious GT4 Open Series. Mark going to be coming now around the final corner and heading to the line, and will be absolutely thrilled with the result. The checkered flag waves in his honor, and behind that, Vomolek has pulled a gap. 1 second here to Ali Raza, and Vomolek Yaie starting the season off strong with a P2 finish. Ali Raza loses it in the final corner, pushing just that slight bit too hard. Thankfully, Casey Schutte is nowhere to be found behind. 10 seconds back is the 444 car as he comes across the final corner now with Potts Weaver ahead of him. A lap down, and they finish off their race. P4 for the 444, not a bad result. Mason Pierchowski will be happy as well in 5th as the car loses it through the final corner again. I'm not sure who that was. I'll go with Spady Bud. And up next is going to be Scott Sullivan in P6.
Yeah, that is a very, very good race from a lot of these guys. I think everybody's going to be mostly happy with their overall position in the top 5 as JP Reed continues his KTM Celsius Autosport Theatrics. I have no idea how he does this every single year, always competing in the KTM. I think it's only a matter of time till he accidentally finds his way into a race win one of these days, and it won't be on accident.
I think it's been a while. We have seen JP take a win at some point. It's been a quite long stretch of time, though. Joseph Bamert there coming in behind Reggie King there by half a second at the end. A nice drag race to the end. Provolone picks himself up at 30-second penalty at the very end. And also Neil Kabuki there in chat. Neil Kerbal saying to join the Discord, check out the championships or the sim grid. Plenty of different cars and racing. Yes, indeed. And lots of stat that can help. And Neil Kerbal, he is one of them. So definitely check out the Trackalicious. And thank you very much for the compliments, Chris. And hope to see you in the next races as well.
Yeah, if you always like to join, you're always welcome. And if you're afraid, you can join the earlier series on Mondays, the Rookies section. That is a good place to get started in sim racing. It's where I got my start, and it is where I continue, or where I've stopped continuing, unfortunately, due to just overall time. And I'd rather be here in the booth with you guys, as Joe Khalil jumps across the line for 14th. A lot of different drivers out there today. Khalil with a pretty good recovery, honestly. I think he's still up one position despite a drive-through.
Down one actually, but yeah, still not terrible.
Either way, yeah, with a drive-through, that's very, very big. He'll finish in that camo livery. Anything but invisible to those cars behind.
Indeed, and we'll head back to the booth here and get some driver interviews if anybody is going to actually show up this time. So
please, guys, please. I love interviews, please.
Molek, Mark, and Ollie. We'll definitely be able to get Ollie because I can just steal him rudely without asking, thankfully.
Yeah, maybe. I guess he's third. Oh, I think he already jumped down to the grand room.
I moved him up because I'm rude.
Moved him up. Mine's at the bottom of my screen. Oh, no, it's not.
That's okay, regardless of where it's located. I won't pull Mark up. Mark, if you want, if you're watching, Mark, you can head up into the green room for a interview. I'm not going to rudely move somebody that I don't know. I just move Ollie because I don't mind bullying Ollie. No, don't take that out of context, chat. No, that's fine. Ollie Raza. Let's start off the interview here, Carson. I think you've caught up with Ollie a little bit.
Yeah, Ollie. So obviously coming back after a long absence from sim racing, to run me a little bit through that P3 finish and kind of what led to it and the preparation you've been putting in.
Yeah, I mean, in the break, I haven't really done much practice, but I thought for this league, let's try out a different car I never drove before. So I went with the BMW, and it does not feel good, at least for me. So it just feels very understeery and doesn't feel responsive. So I don't know. We'll see. But for this race, yeah, it was fun, especially in the beginning. There was a lot of fighting, and but unfortunately, I couldn't get grips with the car, and I didn't have the pace, so I ended up with P3. I thought I could at least get P2 or P1, but we'll see.
Unfortunate. I don't even quite know how honestly Mark got that big of a gap after that very big kind of cutthroat battle at the start and the pit strategy. What was your thought behind the undercut there, pitting at about 15 minutes into the race?
Well, I saw that Mark and V, I don't know how you pronounce his name, they were fighting, so I was like, you know what, let's pit early. But then the other guy pit as well, right the lap after, and then he basically came right in front of me when he came out of the pits, so it just didn't work out for me. So, yeah, that was that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you have anybody you'd like to thank, Ollie?
No, thank you for putting on the show for us.
Awesome, and that's Ollie Raza, everybody. The recent the mountain summiter, well, not quite summiter, but base camp summiter. And Ollie, glad to have you back here, and good luck in the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
Up next, we actually have an interview here from our race winner, Mark Kame. Mark, how's it going?
Oh, I'm sweaty. That was a hard race.
Debut race and a debut race win. I would say not bad. You must be feeling pretty good. You definitely had to work for it, though, and your strategy tonight. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, my start was horrendous, so I was like, I didn't think I was ever going to get around Ollie unless I could make him make a mistake, and then he went for the undercut, so I was like, I'm just going to run this thing dry, or really do opposite of what the Aston was doing, because I was like, I know I could run probably half a second faster if I had clean air, so I'm just going to pick whatever option gives me clean air. I don't care what it's under or overcut.
Yeah, that's fair, and just did the opposite. But I gotta say, you had a couple errors when you were out. You got held up by some back markers. I thought you were gonna come out behind everybody, to be completely honest, but I think you set fastest lap after fastest lap when both Ollie and Vomolek decided to pit. So was it just purely down to pace alone? Is that what you would attribute this win to, or what would you attribute it to?
Yeah, I think that, and the overcut. I think I had the single lap pace. The track position was huge because I had the least top speed, I think, of all three of us. So there was like, overtaking was like out of the question. So it was really down to like, I need to get clean air and just let the single lap do the rest. Like I was probably running more wing than everyone, which was like good for qualifying, but made that race really hard.
Yeah, overtaking obviously at Hungaroring is not a easy feat whatsoever. Next week, though, at Spa-Francorchamps is going to be a little bit of a different story. How you feeling heading into next week?
Now that I've seen the BMW's top speed, I'm terrified, but I'll try to just get a good top 5, keep it clean, points race, you know.
Absolutely, and that's all you can really ask for. Well, Mark, congratulations with your race win. Before we move on, is there anybody that you would like to thank tonight?
All my friends over at track.eu. It's a great community. That's where I do a lot of racing and stewarding for people in another time zone. And my brother for tuning in on Twitch because he's dope. And that's about it.
Awesome. Hey, shout out to your brother.
Yeah. Sorry about your coyotes, Mark.
Thank you.
Awesome. Mark came, everybody. Thank you very much. And there is Swaycos in chat giving a little shout out. Yes, indeed. Well, Mark, good luck in your next races, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
As it stands, though, I think that's going to do it for us today. No interview from Vamolek. We do have a raid up and coming. We're going to be raiding Albert Trangisi. Trangisi Designs, a very quick driver, has raced in Trackalicious, raced in quite a few different challenges around North America, so definitely check him out, doing some practice right now. But Carson, why don't you round the stream off for us here tonight?
Mike, excellent night at Hungaroring with the rookies and the Open. I'm very, very happy with that, and I think everybody else in chat would be as well. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, one Bailey, 70 gift subs to the channel. Oh my.
Total.
Oh, total. Oh,
not at once.
One. Oh my gosh, sorry. One, 2 subs to the channel. Either way, massive thank you. One Bigley, that is number one donor, probably maybe one of the number one donors of all time. But
oh yeah,
thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in next week. More racing at Spa will be for you. But that's gonna be all she wrote for tonight. Thank you very much. I've been Carson Cass with Mike Noss. Good night.